What's going on, everybody? GemMint here. This is episode 3 of the Gemcast. No shoes in the basement, aka comic talks and socks. And today I have a special guest. He's not a content creator. He's not a writer or an artist, but he damn sure is a Geminite. My boy, Alec Manning. What's up?
What's going on, man? Glad to be here. Look, I'm gonna tell y'all, if y'all have never seen a quarter scale statue or a third scale, like they're enormous. Like, it's overwhelming. It's like things are towering above me. It's crazy. This is great.
Now, you probably watched a lot of my statue unboxings.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I always hear people say, like, in person, it just hits different.
Absolutely. Like I said, things tower. Like, even the ones that are at your knees, you're like, yo, it's like a little kid right here, but
toddler-sized statues.
Yeah, man.
So thank you for making the trek out here to the Gempire.
Yeah.
A little bit of a drive from MI.
Yeah, it's all right. I'll do it again for sure.
So you've been following the channel. How long? When did you find GemMint Collectibles?
Probably back in 2016, probably 2016, 2017, something like that.
So you caught the channel early on.
Very early.
Because I was on Instagram since 2014, but the channel started like toward the end of 2017.
Okay.
So you caught me early on.
Yeah.
And when I think Alec Manning, and again, I hate to use your government name, but
That's
that's
all
how I
good.
know you from Facebook, and I think on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
When I think about Alec Manning, I think about seeing you pop up in live streams during the pandemic when we're doing lives with me and Fee.
Yeah.
You're popping up in there. And then in the Facebook group, always tagging your boy Kyle, who has had circulated so many different Facebook names. Yeah. Alec, stop playing.
That's my dog.
So shout out to Kyle.
Yeah.
I know you're probably jealous that Alec's here and you're not.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, man. So tell me a little bit about those days, man, because I used to be into the live chats. You would be all up in the Facebook group tagging Kyle in pictures and such.
Yeah, so it's weird how I actually stumbled upon your channel. I was working I was in Washington State at the time, working in a jail.
Dang.
And it was a late night shift. It was probably I was working night shifts. So it was probably about 3 a.m. maybe. And I was just typing in. Me and my coworker at the time, he asked me, do I watch, any comic book movies or anything like that? I said, oh, here and there. And went on YouTube just to pass the time. I typed in like just Batman for some reason.
See what's out there.
Yeah, exactly. Your stuff popped up. I'm like, oh, let me see what this.
Shout
is.
out to the algorithm in the
SEO.
Yeah.
So let me click on this. But I wasn't clicking on anything Batman related at that point. One of your videos was like talking about like your new journey or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I remember all the Hulks in the background. I'm like, man, that dude got about 6-7 Hulks. What's going on? And he said, just stick with me through this journey. Something like that, and
damn, that might have been my first video.
It was your first video, definitely.
Yeah, because it was like I remember I wanted to start the channel before then.
Yeah. When
I was in South Florida, and then I had the opportunity to move out to West Texas, El Paso, and I was like, all right, you know what? I had already had like a room set up, and it was set up with the intent to do videos. Like I had the Calyx with the books. I had started getting Bestas, but I was like, you know what? Let me hold off on the channel. We're gonna move to El Paso. I'm gonna buy a house. And I'm going to buy a house with this channel in mind, so it has to have like a dedicated space.
Yeah.
So it had like that big open like office upstairs. And once I set up the room, I'm like, all right, I'm just going to put out this welcome video. I'm just going to put something out because I really wanted to get it rolling. And it's like the welcome to GemMint Collectibles.
Yeah, he was real quiet and slow. I said, oh, okay.
I wasn't as confident back then.
I said, dog kind of smooth though. I like it.
Sometimes I look back and I'm like, I miss that guy sometimes, man.
No, he was cool as hell. He's even better now, though. It's cool.
I was a lot more heavy set, bald head.
Buzz cut. It was nice. It was clean, though.
So you found that channel. So that's interesting that you saw that video and were even intrigued because of the background. Because it was kind of set up. I had the Omnibus going. I had the statues. I had all the Hulks on top.
Yeah.
So at this point, are you collecting or you're just kind of interested in it because of the movies and such?
Yeah, not really either one. The movies kind of slowed down a little bit. I mean, they're still pushing stuff out like Aquaman and.
Oh, you mean like right now?
Right.
No, it's slowed down right now for sure.
Oh yeah.
But at this time, when you typed in Batman into YouTube, and you see this welcome channel with this bald guy with tattoos talking about.
Oh yeah, no. See, yeah, I would watch the movies as they come out just because I'm just a fan in general. But as far as collecting, no, I wasn't collecting anything
back then.
No, not nothing at that point. But as more and more your videos came out, I started collecting.
So I enabled you to collect.
Absolutely.
You wouldn't be the first one.
Yeah.
So okay, so you had to have some kind of interest. Let's take it back. like how I like to do on these podcasts, you had to have some type of interest in comic book characters and such before. Can you remember when that started?
Yeah, man, there's, I think like a lot of people, there's just more than one thing.
Yeah.
Well, at least for me, there was more than one thing that made me want to really get into the pop culture. One of them was my brother. He, I don't even know how he got it, but he had a Sonic the Hedgehog comic book.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
it had Sonic and Knuckles on the cover. I said, oh yeah, we play, on the Sega Genesis, Sonic all the time. I said, okay, this look cool. So I wanted to get my first comic book. I knew that was his first one.
Gotcha.
So we go to the store. My parents, I don't even think that they even make the comic anymore. It's called Batman 1 Million.
Oh yeah.
And different type of suit. I don't.
Yeah, I think I have do I even have that omnibus still? The 1 million. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, so it was a single. That's the first single I ever got in my life, and I don't even know if I ever read it. I just remember how cool it was having my first comic.
I think Grant Morrison might have wrote the DC 1 million stuff, because you're about 8 years younger than me.
Yeah.
So that's, I'm always interested to see, like, okay, what was a kid in that era getting into?
Yeah.
So you get this Batman comic book, and it kind of speaks to you in a sense, not so much the story, but the art and the character and such.
But then after that was like one thing that kind of got me like, oh, this could be cool. But then, going to like arcades as kids, like the roller rinks had arcades, like similar ones over here.
Bro, in South Florida, we had this place called Galaxy. It was a roller skating rink, and they would do lock-ins. So it would be from 7 o'clock at night till 7 o'clock in the morning, but you couldn't leave, and it was for kids. This is such a crazy thing. I doubt they do that in this day and age. But it would be a lock-in. Your parents would drop you off from 7 at night all night. They would be skating and races, and they would have the arcades. And I'll never forget, they had Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. Okay. And I was already a Mortal Kombat head. Like, I had followed Mortal Kombat from 1, from 2 in the arcades. So I would spend most of my time playing on the arcade machine. I remember my friend, he would come too, and you would always try to stay up. You didn't want to, like, fall asleep. And I remember he would always fall asleep in, like, the race car games, like, with the last hour left. And this fool would be sleeping in the arcade machine.
Come on, man.
Yeah, but skating rinks were a thing back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean,
skating rinks was hot. That was a place to be.
For arcades, for just the social interaction.
Yeah, the ones you got over here, the Mortal Kombat, the Marvel vs. Capcom, all those were there. And so,
well, I heard you got a horror story about Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah, man, that's traumatizing for me. My brother, we used to play that faithfully, and his favorite character was Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And mine was Wolverine. I don't even know what drew me towards Wolverine. I think like anybody, just the claws popping out.
He also played like Ryu and Ken. Like he had that same kind of Shoryuken move.
Yeah.
He didn't have a fireball, but he had like the Berserker Barrage.
Yeah. That's my move. That's everybody move.
Yeah.
And he used to just tear me apart with Spider-Man. You know how you used to pick? What was it, like you pick 3 characters or something like that?
It depends on the game. Like Marvel vs. Capcom 2, you would have 3 characters. Yeah.
Right. So after I burned through whoever else I picked, I always left Wolverine for last.
Gotcha.
And he used to leave Spider-Man for last. Man, run me
head
out
up, they couldn't do it
every single time. So anytime, like I see my friends ask me, "Yo, you gonna go see the new Spider-Man movie?" Nah. They're like, "What's your problem?" Like, I don't mess with Spider-Man.
Man, fuck Spider-Man.
That's it. So I don't read none of the singles, none of the omnibus, nothing. The new Miles Morales movie. People said it's the best Spider-Man movie ever, live action or cartoon. I say, "Oh, y'all wild."
People will say that. See, for me, I'm more of an old head, so I'm going like Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2.
That's my Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire.
But I mean, and then when I think about animated Spider-Man, I can't help but I got to give it to the 1994 animated series, man.
Absolutely.
I mean, the figures that came out, the episodes, they had great storylines, all the different villains.
Yeah.
Like some of the villains from that animated series is like how people know the villains, like Morbius.
Yeah.
I feel like Morbius became a household name because of that animated series. Mm-hmm. But that's funny. In Marvel vs. Capcom, which I was never really good at the Marvel mashup games. Like, I was great at all the Mortal Kombats. I was decent at Street Fighter 2 and 3. But with those games just flying around the screen all crazy. But my team was always like Wolverine, Ryu, and Venom.
Okay.
That's how I used to always pick. But again, I wasn't really that good. Like, people who know how to play will pick, like, Doctor Doom, Magneto, Sentinel. There's, like, the tiered teams or whatever. But your brother used to whoop you up.
Yeah, very, very heavily. So, that didn't even like I just said, Tobey Maguire is my favorite Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. So obviously I still watched them, but the ones nowadays, what's my man's name now?
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland. He does, and I've watched his, and he's okay. He's too, and I think you spoke on this once about a time. He's too dependent on Tony Stark all the time.
Yeah.
It just became like, what can you do without Tony Stark? And it's always somebody inspiring him to be Spider-Man. He doesn't even want to be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like if you see him, like on his, like if you follow him on, not follow him, but like Complex or something, it'll always say like he doesn't know if he wants to come back and be Spider-Man, or he has no interest in being Spider-Man. Like
you kind of want the actor to have that drive,
exactly.
like Henry Cavill had it for Superman, and they did him dirty.
Yeah, what's the amazing Spider-Man?
Andrew Garfield.
He wants to be Spider-Man still.
Yeah, let him be Spider-Man. Sony isn't taking L's like Disney though. They had like one lackluster movie with him. They're like, we're done. You're out of here. But then the Marvel, the MCU deal happened. I think right after the Amazing Spider-Man 2. But he did have his redemption in No Way Home. I thought that was cool. He got to save dope. MJ, right?
Yeah.
And he got to be Spider-Man. And the Tom Holland thing, because Spider-Man has always been like a lone character. Mm-hmm. Like he was always a solo act.
Yeah.
And to see him being dependent on Tony was kind of like, it was just a different dynamic. I wasn't really into it. I feel like I always take flack. People always tell me in the comments I have the worst movie takes. And I'll take that. I mean, I'm not a movie critic.
Yeah.
But I definitely was never into the Tom Holland Spider-Man. Even like the way they just breezed past his origin in, what was it, Civil War? It felt like they just got the rights and they're like, throw him in there.
Yeah.
You know, and then Tony was always like the big fixture there. But
yeah, people love Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Like when he came through swinging in what was one before Endgame?
Infinity War.
Infinity War. Was it that one was that Endgame or was that Infinity War when he came through swinging through the portal?
That's Endgame.
Endgame. So when he came through the portal, I was in there day one with the crowd because that's the best time to see the movies. Man, he came through there. People were screaming. They love Tom Holland as Spider-Man. And I was happy to see him too. I was like, oh yeah, Spider-Man.
Well, because they killed him off in Infinity War.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yo, which was crazy. You know what's crazy about Infinity War? I never told this story. So I watched the movie for the first time. I couldn't believe they actually killed these characters, even though you knew like Black Panther had a movie coming out, but they killed him and ended the movie. Like for X amount of months, these guys are definitely dead. Yeah. And then I remember taking my daughters to it, and my daughter Jay, she's a little bit more on the emotional side. So as the scene's leading up, I find my heart pounding. I'm like, yo, she's gonna freak out right now. And I'm getting all like nervous leading up to it, and then of course she's bawling her eyes out, crying like crazy when they killed everyone.
People like you and I, we kind of knew they're not dead.
But even though I already saw the movie, just anticipating her reaction, I started getting mad anxious.
Okay, I will say, even though we knew, even going in, because people were spoiling stuff all the time. When we knew Tom Holland wasn't going to come back, and he said, what did he say? I don't feel very good. I don't feel so okay, well, now I was getting a little, that got me. I said, damn. Because
you think Disney, and I didn't expect them to actually do that, or at least maybe bring them back within the same movie. But the fact that you had to wait, I thought it was crazy. The thing with the MCU, I always felt like they never came out with a banger movie after a banger. Like after Endgame or after the Avengers 1, you had Iron Man 3, huge letdown. I forget what was even after Avengers 2. But after Infinity War and Endgame, then you had Captain Marvel. So they never really like stuck the follow-up.
You didn't think Captain Marvel was a...
No, Captain Marvel was after Infinity War. And then after Endgame, I think it was Spider-Man, was it Far From Home, I think maybe? I don't remember the timeline. But to me, they never really had like a big solid banger after their big Avengers movies.
Yeah, I don't remember the timeline very well because it was quite some time ago.
A little bit, yeah.
But Marvel, it always seemed like, at least now, quality is not there, but there's a whole bunch of quantity.
Quantity over quality.
Yeah, it seems to be going in that direction. But I will say, when they rev things back up, like how it seems like they're going to eventually, they do great things. So
they have done great things. We're really picky because we're really big fans of these characters and of these movies, of these storylines. And I see someone shared that meme in our Facebook group today where it's like, the MCU's dead, the MCU's back, the MCU's dead, the MCU is back, because like every other movie sucks. That's the thing.
Facts.
Should it be that every other like show or movie sucks? Can't we all have quality each time? So to your point though, they were doing 3 movies a year, they were doing multiple shows a year, but now the only movie on the slate for this year from the MCU is Deadpool 3. And no, I don't think Echo just dropped. Yeah. So they are reeling back on the quantity. Yeah. And I think Deadpool 3 will be quality. But like we were talking about this, I took him to my little diner dive spot. Shout out to Stinkin' Lincoln. But I think Deadpool 3 is going to be great. I don't know that it's going to be enough to get everybody back on board. They got to have a good follow-up to that movie.
I think that movie is going to do great just based off Hugh Jackman coming back.
Well, I think there's a lot going for it. You got Hugh Jackman.
There's a lot of people coming back.
In the real costume for the first time.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds is great as Deadpool. They're going to do a lot of fan service, which I'm a sucker. I am the worst movie critic. Give me fan service. That's all I want. Apparently, I'm not alone because look at No Way Home. That was all fan service with the 3 Spider-Man and doing the meme and all this shit.
Man. God, that was so great.
I loved it too.
Now,
I think Deadpool 3 will be like that.
I agree because I've seen so many things that they've hinted towards like Magneto coming back, and I'm like, for what? Why?
Magneto's a tough one.
Which Magneto and why?
They got to do a different origin. They can't do Holocaust Magneto anymore. I mean, we're too far away from that time period to make it line up.
Did you hear what's her X-23?
Yeah,
that's the female, right?
Yeah,
Daphne King. That's her name. Daphne King.
Oh, I don't know the actress's name.
But they said she coming back.
I wouldn't be surprised.
There's a lot.
Well, look, we've seen on-set footage of Sabretooth from the Fox movies.
You know what's crazy? I have not seen that.
So
I need to see that though.
Do you want me to spoil what the scene is?
Yeah.
It's them holding his decapitated head.
From the old one?
From the first X-Men movies.
Wow.
Because then they had the Sabretooth from the Wolverine movies, which was a different guy.
Yeah, he was lame. But
yeah, that's when they made them brothers, I think, which was kind of, I think, based off of the Origin comic book series. But I think they're going to do a lot of fan stuff. I think they're going to kill the Fox universe. I think they're going to use the multiverse to bring in all of these characters, which makes sense. I mean, to redo the comic
because that's what they're doing for Venom, right?
I'm sorry?
Because isn't the last Venom movie, they showed his symbiote going...
Yeah. Well, that's the Sony universe. So with the Fox universe, I'm talking about like the original X-Men movies, like the original Jean Grey from... X-Men 3: The Last Stand and that Cyclops.
I love those movies.
But to your point, they did merge the Sony Venom movies with the MCU at the end of, was that Far From Home? Or it was No Way Home.
Yeah.
Where the symbiote got left in our multiverse. But will they even pick up on that and do something else? I mean,
you saw they coming out with Venom 3.
They are, right? Yeah.
Why?
So did you like the first 2 Venom movies?
Hell no. Why is Venom in the club? Why?
That's from the second one, right?
Yeah.
I recently just watched those with my kids because they've never seen them.
That's not Venom.
It's a Venom movie, but it's not the Venom that I grew up reading or watching in cartoons.
And at some point, we got to stop saying like when Hugh Jackman was first casted as Wolverine, right? We were like, well, he's too tall.
Too tall.
Yeah. At this point, I don't even care. I just want a quality actor or what we grew up with. So when we grew up with something like Venom, where for one, he was never in a club. Why is he in the club?
But he was driving that semi truck in the animated series. That one episode.
That is true. That is true.
No, but you want a Eddie Brock. You want a built kind of guy.
Yeah, and I like my man's name, Tom Hardy.
People love Tom Hardy.
But I think a lot of us wanted him to be the next Wolverine because I feel like I don't know if you did or not, but I was like, Tom Hardy's Wolverine. Stature fits.
Oh yeah.
Great actor. I don't know if the face. I think they could get the facial features down, but.
What about Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter?
No, absolutely.
But he looks like he, in his older years though.
No. All
right. What about Danny DeVito?
No.
I've
seen the picture. Though.
Yo, what if they do that in Deadpool 3 as a joke for like a different multiverse?
That would be hilarious.
That would be fun. They probably will do that.
Absolutely.
Damn, imagine they do that. We call it on the podcast. But I've learned a long time ago. I'm not a good movie reviewer. I'm not a good fan caster.
What's been the movies you said that? What's my critique you on? Because I might be on your same.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't know the specifics on why I tend to like movies that people don't like.
Okay, did you like Logan?
Yeah.
Okay, Logan's my favorite. How I judge movies is if it made me cry. I was in that Joker. I had my hat real low at the end. Man, my face was hot. But now I'll give you something. Black Panther. Both of them.
Both of them.
Trash.
Didn't like them. So I always felt Black Panther, the first one, was too similar to Iron Man.
Okay.
I felt like it was the same kind of origin story, just switching up the aesthetics a little bit. But Wakanda Forever was a tough one because they had a huge obstacle, obviously, with the passing of Chadwick Boseman. Crazy sad. I mean, the actor in real life passes away.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't know. It's hard for me too because the movie doesn't mean the same for me as it means for other people. You know what I'm saying? Like being a white guy, Black Panther to me is just another character. But for some people, that's their favorite character. That's the character.
They'll tell you Wakanda's a real place.
Right.
In real life, that's
well, there is this whole theory on that's how it used to be back in the day or whatever. Or, I don't know. I think so. So you don't like Black Panther 1 or 2?
I don't like.
What's the reason why you don't like them?
Now, I know they're gonna try and pack me up in the comment section, but so let me clarify. Mm-hmm. Black Panther 1, when it first came out, this is when he was. This is another issue with the whole timeline thing, and I don't even try and factor that in anymore. I'm so tired of this whole timeline thing. So in Civil War, right,
which was also a crazy rushed origin, just like Spider-Man.
Yeah. Now he and Bucky, when he was granted he was underneath that mind control thing,
right?
Man, them two in Civil War, right?
Yeah. That was a good fight.
Yeah, them two. No, Winners.
It was Civil War.
I'm sorry. So yes, in Civil War, those two going at it was crazy.
Yeah.
So then Black Panther comes out. Now Killmonger, he doesn't have much correct me if I'm wrong, very many singles of him. But what I think I do know of Killmonger is he's never taken an L.
I never knew who Killmonger was before that movie.
Oh, really?
I didn't grow up reading Black Panther comics. I grew up. I got most of my comic reading when I started the channel, when I started finding the Omnis and reading back and finding them in that format, and then picking up single issues throughout the years. But Killmonger, I only really know him from the movies.
Okay.
I thought he was a badass character. I really did like him. He was a badass though in those movies for sure. But you didn't like. I didn't really like how he beat T'Challa in that first fight.
So I'm gonna do two things. If you're going off, because if I'm not mistaken, Killmonger has never lost a fight to Black Panther.
Okay.
And that was kind of, he definitely, he beat him a couple of times. They had a couple fights. But what was so corny to me at the end of Black Panther is when they're down there in that little tunnel.
The train thing.
Oh, man. He said, his sister said, hey, cut the train tracks on.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you see old boy get hit by the train.
Yeah.
I said, oh, that's lame.
Well, see, that's also how it felt like Iron Man. I hated the trope where the villain was just like a different version of the hero. Like you had Iron Man and then Ironmonger. Now you have two different Black Panthers fighting each other. It's like the villain is always too similar to the hero.
Yeah.
Even Spider-Man and Venom you can argue like that too, but I think they look way different enough, especially with the symbiote and all that. But Black Panther versus Killmonger is like kind of a boring fight.
So the more and more I think about it, Black Panther was probably before Civil War because
chronologically you mean?
Yeah, because when Civil War came out, he was already Black Panther.
No, because his father dies in Civil War, remember?
Oh, that's
And I'm pretty sure that happens during the events of the first Black Panther movie. And they have Winter Soldier hanging out. I guess they took him in because he was definitely a fugitive for being Winter Soldier. What they call him, the White Wolf, and they gave him the vibranium arm. I did like how they introduced vibranium. They did a lot of good things with the Black Panther movies. First of all, in the sequel, you had Namor, which I know most people didn't like it.
Man.
But they introduced Namor, Atlantis, Wakanda, and vibranium were introduced. I think we got teases of it even before Civil War. I feel like it was one of the Avengers movies where we were teased about Wakanda. So it brought a lot of like Marvel Comics lore.
Oh yeah, from Claw, right? Wasn't Claw
because of Age of Ultron? That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so, I guess what I should rephrase by saying Black Panther up to that moment in the first one was cool until the whole train track.
The third act was whack.
Yeah,
I could agree with you on that.
Now the second one, you're absolutely right that we as a community faced a tragic loss. Yeah, it's like, okay, well, where do we go from here? Because it was supposed to come out.
Yeah,
and I think you and Boba Fett, talked about it.
Boba Fett.
I'm sorry, Boba Fett.
Put some respect on his name.
My bad, man.
Nah. Shout out to Dave, came through for episode 2. Make sure to check out episode 2. The full episode is up right now.
Yeah. So it's like, where do we go from here? Do we do the chopping block, or do we keep it going?
Do we recast him? Do they make his
now? They stuck to the script with his sister becoming,
right?
Like,
Shuri.
Okay, that makes sense. But I didn't really like her as what I would have wanted as a fan. Killmonger take the mantle.
Yeah,
that's what I would have wanted. I think a lot of people wanted that.
So what was sad for me was like we never got to see Black Panther and Storm that whole storyline would have been dope to explore.
Oh,
Because
that'd been
there was a
cool.
point in time in the comics where they're married. And I'm like, what a great way to incorporate X-Men with the existing MCU.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, those events. If they recasted him, they could have done that.
But
And-
as you saw at the end, it was like, well, now we got a baby named T'Challa.
oh yeah, that's right.
So it's like, well, y'all gonna do a Black Panther 3?
but he's gonna be a teenager.
And
now?
then old girl is just not gonna be Black Panther anymore? Like, it's just too messy.
And I didn't
now.
like, so in the movie they killed him off screen, and now I'm like, it didn't really hit as hard because he already died in
Did they even
Infinity
explain
War.
how he died in the
Yeah,
movie?
he got a disease and died off screen. Like that was
Okay.
kind of lame if you think about it. Like we see, the thing is, as an audience, we accept it because we know he really passed away. The actor is
yeah.
gone. So in the movie, we're like, oh, okay, he's gone. All right, let's move forward.
Yeah.
You know, but within the movie world, it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah. Now, I will say, name is it Namor or Namor?
See, ever since that movie, I have a hard time. My brain always wants to say this one or Namor.
Yeah.
Namor is the comic version.
Yeah, so he was a cold villain. Well, they say he's an anti-villain, so
Anti-hero.
yeah, anti-hero. So I don't know. I just felt like her name is Shuri, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I always say it's Shuri.
Yeah,
But I hear, like, I do, my boy Comic Tom always says Shuri.
right.
I don't know if that's right
So
or not.
when she had that idea to drag him away from water, because that's where he really thrives in,
Right.
and bring him on dry land, I was like, that's some Shuri type, That's
Yeah,
some
she's
shit. That's-
smart.
Yeah, absolutely. Was it just me, or would the outfit just not fit her body? I guess.
I saw the movie one time in theaters. I didn't dislike it, but it wasn't one of those where I'm like, yo, I can't wait to watch that again.
Yeah.
Like I must have watched Phase 1 10 times, put it on in the house or whatever. But to your point with the quantity over quality, so many of these Phase 4, I guess really just Phase 4, I've only seen one time. Shang-Chi, Eternals.
That's one I haven't seen. Yeah, I need to see that.
Which one?
Um,
Well, even with Shang-Chi, I remember liking it in the theater. I remember it kind of even like going places where I didn't think it was gonna go. But if you do
Did you
get a
say
chance
Shang-Chi? I thought it was Shang-Chi.
I thought it was Shang-Chi until everybody on the internet started saying Shang-Chi.
Okay.
It does have an A in the name.
Yeah, I get it though. I understand why they say that. Okay. I still need to see. I'll be honest with you. As you said in the beginning, I've been out the game for a minute. There's a lot of movies I haven't seen. I still need to see the Doctor Strange 2, the Madness one.
So there's some fan service in there, but I think overall there was a lot of things that people didn't like about that movie. They didn't like America Chavez, which is like you're throwing a new character in there and you're giving her these crazy powers, and the Scarlet Witch being the villain of the movie. I don't know. And then after WandaVision, did you watch WandaVision? Yeah. See, I think they lost a lot of casual people that was like, I gotta watch this now and that, and
It just like I said, it just became overwhelming that you got to watch all this stuff. And if you got time to do it, of course. But they put a lot of shows on Disney Plus, and I'm gonna watch them eventually.
Did you watch any of them yet? Loki or?
You know what? See now I gotta walk backwards. I guess I'm not. I ain't watched them yet, so I guess I'm not.
You don't know what you're missing yet.
Yeah, that is true, and I'm gonna get around to it. Like I said, I've been out the game for a minute.
So speaking about being out the game, right? So you weren't really. So you grew up like me. Comics and comic book characters were around us everywhere. Video games.
Yeah.
We had movies back then. We had animated series. We had action figures. But you never really got into like reading comics though until you found the channel.
Yeah, that's
Is that
facts.
a correct assessment?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you might have caught Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man.
Oh yeah,
or
yeah.
X-Men
I was heavy
movies.
on the movies. Very like the X-Men trilogy. That was my stuff.
Yeah.
I loved anything Hugh Jackman with Halle Berry, and man, I loved all that.
Yeah. No, that was a good time, man. It was a more grounded take.
Yeah.
It was the first time we got X-Men movies. Well, I guess Spider-Man too. Those Sony Tobey Maguire's were the first live-action Spider-Man movies because there were Hulk movies back in the day, which were way before my time with the Lou Ferrigno
Facts.
era.
Yeah.
Before my time, hard to watch now. So Spider-Man and X-Men, those were our like because they had Batman.
Yeah.
So those were our early Marvel movies, following the steps of like the Batman Returns, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So you find the channel, and then so what do you get into first? Were you drawn more to the omnibus stuff or the statues?
In terms of your channel, I was definitely more fond of the statues. I thought
Okay.
just seeing because sometimes you do the unboxing and you set them up next to you,
Yeah.
and they would just, like I said, tower over you as you're sitting down or when you stood up.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, that is so cool. And so, but shortly after, I'm talking with some of my friends like Kyle.
Yeah.
And, he used to collect singles for a little bit, but he said, you check out, because then he followed you eventually. He's like, you seen them Omnis?
Yeah.
I said, what, Omni? What are you talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
So got into Omnis, but
because he was a reader, so that's him. That's his way of saying, look, check out these Omnis. This is how you could get into it. You could you could read the Infinity Gauntlet in one book.
Yeah. So we got into, us living in really the same area. We went to a whole bunch of comic book shops, and but what was really the hookup was you recommending.
Yeah.
What was that website at the time? It was really hot.
It was the only one at the time that was doing it. It's In Stock Trades.
In Stock Trades.
They still do it. And the thing that's crazy about Omnis is that they have a high cover price, $100, $125, but for whatever reason, online retailers were able to sell them for like 40 to 50% off of the cover price. So me being a collector, a hustler, but also somebody who really loved the material, I'm like, damn, you telling me I could buy this $100 book for $50? I mean, you can't really lose.
Yeah.
Because if, eventually the book would go out of print, and then you could sell it for cover price or even more sometimes. Yeah. Back in the day, we were talking about this off screen. They weren't always reprinting Omnis like this. So sometimes an omnibus will go out of print. It might go up to like $500.
Yeah.
I think I bought the Mighty Thor Volume 1 for like $600 on eBay. But I was always the type that was like, make the hobby fund itself. So It was really just PayPal money, fake Monopoly money is what I would call it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, $600 was a lot, but it wasn't really like hard-earned working 9-to-5 money.
Yeah. So when you brought up In Stock Trades, I said, well, let me go in here. Let me see the stuff that I like. I love DC. Marvel was a bit. I only like certain things in Marvel. Like, I'm not an Iron Man fan. I'll be honest with you.
But before the MCU, I don't think there were a ton of Iron Man fans.
Facts.
He was always like a C-list character until the MCU.
Yeah. So I was really like anybody. X-Men, Wolverine,
Spider-Man, and X-Men for me. That's like my main thing.
So, but at the time, Wolverine, we talked about Wolverine 1, like that wasn't in print at the time, so that was hard to get.
That took years to get reprinted.
It absolutely
did.
That
Wolverine Volume 1 omnibus with the Frank Miller cover.
Yep.
And the DM variant was the Alex Ross version of the same cover. I always loved how they used to do that. Yeah. See, nowadays they'll do 2 or 3 variants, just random different covers.
Yeah.
See, back in the day, it was always like the main cover, which was like the most notable issue from that book, or the Alex Ross homage to that. And I always thought that was super sleek how they did that.
So when I, watching your videos, you had, the IKEA, the cubes and whatnot.
IKEA Calyx. People will always ask you.
Yeah.
What do you use? So
I think I might have asked once upon a time. So when I finally got them in, you feel a void when you can't fill a full cube.
Bro.
So you're like, when you see this empty cube, like, well, I need to fill this. So In Stock Trades, go on there.
Yo, you know what that's like? That's just like tattoos for me.
Yeah.
When you start getting tattoos, all you see is the blank spots on you. You don't even notice that, okay, I got all these tats. I just would see the empty spots. And same thing with shells, man, whether it's for statues or omnibus.
Yeah.
You don't, it's almost like a selfish thing. Like you almost you take for granted what you do have because all you really notice is the stuff, the blanks.
Facts.
What you're missing.
And so when I started, listen, you used to, go through Omni reviews.
Yeah.
And,
I still do it. I got one that's coming. By the time this video comes out, I got a new recent reads omnibus review.
I'm gonna check that out.
Miracle Man, crazy read, yo.
And the ones that you do the overhead view, you flip through it. If I like the art, if I like the story, like Wonder Woman, I'm not the biggest Wonder Woman fan,
right?
But after the ones that
George Perez art,
George, that's a great one,
right?
I ordered that one, read the whole thing, put it on the shelf. So the ones that
you would buy Omnis and you would read them,
the ones I like, yes,
because a lot of times we get caught up in the collector aspect of it, and don't actually get to the reading aspect of it,
So there are now on the other side of that, there are Omnis that I bought just to collect, that I didn't really care to read. But it was about 50-50. So like Uncanny X-Force, I didn't really care to read it, but I wanted it because it was hot and it was hard to get.
But maybe you were also influenced by me because I always champion that as like one of my favorite Omnis.
You would talk that joint up. But a lot of people don't even like it. Well, I shouldn't say a lot. The one people that I know didn't really like it.
I've seen some people consider it to be overrated. But that's a run that I read it in single issues twice. I read it in the omnibus. I was just a really big fan of the team.
The team was dope.
The team, the costumes.
Yeah.
I liked the whole apocalypse as a kid. The conundrum of should we just kill him?
Yeah.
Deadpool was all about it. Like, you know, I like that story a lot, man.
So after I filled
The
them all,
Archangel arc. I could go on, but
oh yeah, I ain't mad at you. So after you fill the shelves, obviously you still got ones that are still wrapped up, or you got the ones that you already read and they're not. Just like you just said, sometimes the hobby needs to fund itself. And so once upon a time, I nuked the entire shelf.
Yeah.
And I made, especially off the ones that are out of print.
Yeah.
Man, I probably made at least $3,000.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know I ain't spending nowhere $3,000, giving in-stock trades 50% off.
Yeah.
I didn't spend anywhere close to $3,000 on those books.
Yeah. All right, guys, and since we're talking about Omnibus and collected editions, check out our sponsor, OrganicPriceBooks.com. They have a wide selection of in-stock books. You can pre-order upcoming Omnibus. They have amazing packaging with super fast shipping. Use code GemMint. It'll save you $2 every time. Yeah, and that's how I looked at it when I was buying them. I'm like, you're not really losing. I mean, you can read it, you get the most enjoyment out of it. You can collect it, which is another aspect of it. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, comic books were always both. Yeah. There's a reading aspect to it, there's a collecting aspect to it. And then the selling aspect, too, when it's like, you know what, man, I kind of want to buy this thing over here. I don't really want to come out of pocket. Let me just sell these items. Boom, hobby funds itself. And because, like I said in that one video that I did, what do I do for a living video, which was an old school video on the channel. You're buying these books one at a time. It's almost like you're putting money in the bank. Yeah. But putting money in the bank in your savings account is boring as hell. But buying an omnibus for $50 and putting it on the shelf and enjoying it as whatever, even if it's decoration for a year, and then you turned around and sold it for $100. I mean, yo, that's a win-win all around.
Yeah. And which one that really caught my eye, and I didn't even know about the story. I didn't know anything really about it. Was the boys with the actual sleeves.
The definitive edition.
Yeah, definitive edition.
That's the first time I ever heard of the boys. My first time experiencing the boys was reading it in those definitive editions. Yeah. And I was like, this is the craziest shit I've ever read, man.
Oh, yeah, it is wild. Yeah. But those books, those definitive ones, when I went and bought them, they were still in the cover. Yeah. But the guy was selling it, was that $100 a book?
They were probably $100, retail.
So
cover
I
price.
Bought it for $700, still in the sleeves.
For 6 of them, right?
Yeah, for 6 of them. I was like, okay, that's cool. But then I saw how much they were going for on eBay.
Yeah, like probably $1,100 or something like that.
I sold them jokers for $1,000.
And then they ended up coming out with the omnibus. But what's funny is, so Dynamite, I don't know that they're ever going to reprint that format. So that format is probably out of print for life.
Oh, for sure.
But they redid them as omnis, and I did the same as you. I bought them for X amount because I had them for years. I had that set, and I read that set before I started the channel. So around the Instagram era, probably 2015, 2016. I found them, I want to say I found them at a local shop, and that's how I bought them. And then I probably sold them for a profit, and then boom, turn around and buy the omnibus when they came out. So that's another, those omnibus are free, and I still had profit. Yeah. So that's how the game goes, man.
That's definitely how it goes.
So that's
right now, like I still, even like I said, I'm still kind of out of the game, but there's a place called, what is it, Moe's or something like that? Not Moe's.
Ollie's?
Ollie's, I'm sorry. So there's an Ollie's right next to my gym.
That's like a used bookstore, right?
Yeah, but sometimes they got them still wrapped up. So the X-Men, which one? The one before that. Don't worry about it.
Age of Apocalypse, Inferno, Follow the Mutants.
The one with
Mutant Massacre.
Didn't you see that orange one right there with Storm on the front?
Oh, that's just like X-Men, Chris Claremont, Jim Lee.
Yes, so the one before that, the first one.
Okay.
They had 3 of those there just sitting on the shelf.
Bam.
And I bought 2 of them, flipped one of them.
Yeah, that's a game.
So
man.
I got one at the house right now.
See, I mean, that's just, we're very like-minded in that sense. Like, I never really get too attached to like physical items. I'm down to sell something because I always feel like I can get it back, or I've enjoyed it. I don't have to have it for life. But at the same time, I was a reader too, or am a reader. I still like and respect the source material. I want to know more about these characters. I want to read and be entertained by them. Yeah. So I'm glad to hear it. So you would read too. You would read what, like at work and such, or?
Yeah, at the time when I was really getting into like reading the omnibus, I'd read them at work. Some I read at the house, and if the story was engaging, I'd burn right through it.
So can you give me one of your favorites, or maybe give me your top 3 favorites that you read, or?
Top 3 favorite would probably be Hush.
Oh, I'm reading that omnibus right now.
I didn't know it had I knew it had the absolutes.
So I read it in an absolute, and they just came out with the omnibus.
Okay, so let me rewind.
You want to talk absolutes and omnis?
Let me not do absolutes.
We can do absolutes by itself.
Yeah. So omnis, it wasn't even my favorite. I was just happy to get into the hobby at the time.
Yeah.
It was the Wolverines by when like Wolverine Goes to Hell.
Oh yeah, the Jason Aaron trilogy.
Yeah,
run.
so like they weren't my favorite, but my favorite is Injustice.
Oh, I loved Injustice.
I love both of
So
those.
I love Injustice because that ties into Mortal Kombat. The Midway became NetherRealm, who makes Mortal Kombat, and then they also make Injustice. And the comics came out. I was reading the web comics as they were coming out. They were coming out like each issue in 3 parts. I was reading them online. I think I was torrenting it at the time, to be honest. This was way before the channel. And then when they came out with an omnibus, first of all, if you played Injustice with the story mode, they're adapting the comic for this video game, which NetherRealm is known for their fighting game story modes. Ever since MK vs. DC, Mortal Kombat 9, X, 11, and now MK1, and of course Injustice 1 and 2. So yeah, Injustice.
My second. So I'm gonna put Injustice number 1. My second one's probably Gotham Central.
Gotham Central was dope.
I thought that was hot.
That's Brubaker, no? Yeah, Ed Brubaker, Greg Rucka.
And then my third one, it might be just the collab of Punisher. I'm just a fan of Punisher in general.
Yeah.
I think I think John Bernthal's really got me into Punisher.
Yeah.
When I saw the scene with him going through the jail and he just covered in blood, I said, I need to read the books.
I think that was taken from one of those Garth Ennis runs too, because there was a Garth Ennis. I don't know if it was Marvel Knights or they definitely had a Max run with Garth Ennis, and then he had 2 separate runs with. There's 2 different omnibus. One of them I think is a 2-parter, and then another was standalone. I read all those Punisher books, except I still haven't read the Rick Remender one, and I started reading the Punisher Back to War, but that's a lot of just Punisher early appearances in Spider-Man and his early magazine appearances and such.
Yeah.
But the Punisher reads were good. So you got into doing Omnis, and how many did you end up stacking up? A lot of Absolute editions?
Yeah, I had Killing Joke.
Yeah, I got that one still.
That was cool.
So to your point, I sold all my Absolutes.
Oh yeah.
But I started grabbing them back.
You can get them back for $20.
I started grabbing them back. So Killing Joke, yeah.
Hush. The Hush is my favorite. Hush is, you know what? Let me. If Kyle's watching this, he can be like, Long Halloween is better. So when I read Hush first, and then he said you got to read Long Halloween. So
Long Halloween is way better. They used to have there was 3 absolutes for the Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale books: Long Halloween, Dark Victory, Haunted Night. Yeah. But then I sold those when the omnibus came out because the absolutes were out of print. Got the omnibus that has all 3 stories in one now. But those were great reads too, man, for sure.
Yeah, Long Halloween was dope. I really did like that.
See, Absolutes is really just DC. When I think Absolutes, Alan Moore Swamp Thing's got to be up there.
That is one that I really need to read because I've heard incredible things about that.
Have you read Watchmen?
No.
Have you seen the movie? Oh, you're slipping right now.
I'm big.
Kyle,
slipping.
What are we doing?
Yeah. You know what's funny? He's told me to watch. You know what else? You're gonna be mad when I tell you this. He also has told me to watch Invincible 7 different times. And
I don't know how you
It's not that I don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
I just have not made time for
How did you not get caught up in that when it was so big in the Facebook group during them years?
It was
man?
definitely hot in the Facebook group.
Our Facebook group, I think we championed 2 things: Invincible and Berserk.
Facts.
Did you get into Berserk? Oh, okay. Yeah. So you read the manga or just watched the anime?
I ain't read the manga. What's funny, I have the mangas.
Okay.
Not all of them like you, but
yeah.
I have Oh yeah, they are.
I'm still waiting on volume 14 is in the mail, which is the current one, which ends Kentaro Miura's run. He passed away.
That's right.
But they're still continuing this. His school and his students are continuing.
You see, they're about to bring the anime back out now.
I did think I saw something about that.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm only hit by the anime, not really the.
Yeah, because we were talking about that behind the scenes. So you're into anime.
Absolutely.
But you don't really read the mangas. Well, before we get into that, top absolutes for me, you got to go Alan Moore Swamp Thing. It's hard not to say Watchmen as well, which is also Alan Moore. And then, man, it's kind of hard not to say Crisis on Infinite Earths because we never got that in an omnibus. George Perez art.
Okay.
It's basically DC's version of Infinity Gauntlet, big, huge crossover event. Or maybe more so, no, it's more so DC's version of Secret Wars, the original Marvel
Infinite
run.
Crisis?
Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Okay.
There's a lot of Crisis events.
Because Infinite Earth is like that giant omnibus, isn't it? Infinite Crisis? The
final Infinite Crisis is a big fat boy omnibus, which I paid like $600 for.
Isn't it the story like kind of...
Yeah, you know what? All I remember is the Thanagarian War, the Hawkman stuff. I don't even remember the main story of Infinite Crisis. I think it was that with Batman and Brother Eye and all that. But then they also had Final Crisis, and I don't know. I get confused, man.
I hear you.
DC always kind of went over a little bit over my head, especially when they did these big Justice League Crisis events. That they would bring out obscure characters like Captain Carrot and all this shit. That's when they kind of lost me. Like Batman grounded stories I was into. I was never a fan of Batman in outer space. Like, or Spider-Man in outer space for that matter. Like, keep my superheroes grounded. Leave all that space stuff for Green Lantern and all that stuff. So that makes sense to go to the manga and anime. So not really into manga, but you're into anime. Right now, we're watching, me and my daughter, Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah, that's hot.
That shit is dope.
Yeah. But, I also, for those that don't know, I'm the king of giving hot takes, the ones that are not very popular. So
hey, you're sitting with the king yourself, bro.
So JJK, Jujutsu Kaisen, it's what we've seen already, but it's really still really great. It's just it ain't nothing but Naruto and Demon Slayer.
I was gonna say it's like Demon Slayer. Even the solo leveling that I've been reading, it's that same trope of like monster hunters leveling up within a school with other monster hunters. It's like, and it's almost like in a video game. Like they'll set the veil, which is kind of like they contain the fight within this area, and they have powers and stuff. So yeah, it's very tropey.
Really well, though.
It's very
done really well.
I mean, the animation's good. The characters are interesting. And the power sets are cool, and they have their own kind of lore. But it is very tropey, I would say. That's probably a whole subgenre of anime that they follow that kind of formula.
Yeah, you can't fail with the formula. That's for sure. It's just how are you going to make it your own? And they've done all right, but you can see that they definitely have taken things from Naruto, the white sensei, so Gojo compared to.
I never got into Naruto.
Oh man!
I've watched Dragon Ball Z, Death Note, Attack on Titan. I'm watching
Master Roshi, white hair.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, but
Hunter x Hunter, JJK. What else? Berserk, of course. I love Berserk, even though the season 2 they kind of butchered the animation style and everything.
Oh, you're talking about how it's like CGI.
When they add CGI to anime, it's like, come on, bro.
Yeah, I couldn't finish it. It was actually kind of.
So can you give me what's your top animes? The Alec Manning top anime list.
Look, man, it's not ever changing, but I will say that I've learned to let go of old anime because I'm naturally biased because that's what I grew up with. So the big 3 was always DBZ, Naruto, Yu Yu Hakusho for me. Not in that order, but Yu Yu Hakusho was always my number 1 anime. Gotcha. But you tell average day,
my kids won't watch old anime. They're up on all the new stuff.
Yeah, because the new stuff, there's not a bunch of filler. Like DBZ, I always say DBZ and Naruto were pioneers for what anime is today. DBZ is a lot of filler. They don't have the patience for that anymore.
Right.
So anime today, like they want instant gratification. We didn't have that. We had to wait. We had to go home after school, get your little snack.
It's for one part of a 9-part fight scene.
Yeah, and
but JJK is kind of like that too in a sense. Those fight scenes will drag on multiple episodes.
Yeah, and it does, and it's cool though.
So all right, so let's go new anime. I already know one of them you're gonna say.
Oh yeah. New anime is definitely Attack on Titan number 1.
AOT.
I talked about things that make you cry. Oh man.
My wife put me onto Attack on Titan years ago, but I never finished it. But I can see that. So that's not tropey. That feels like it's its own thing, man.
Man, that
is these giant kind of zombie-like creatures.
You know what's crazy? I never wanted to watch it. When I saw that it was a bunch of naked people running around, I said, why would I want to watch
with a
this?
Weird stare and look on their face with a long rows of teeth.
Yeah, I said, why would I want to watch this? Man,
it's freaky, man.
That was the biggest L and rewarding thing I've ever watched, honestly.
All right, so AOT, JJK is up there?
I think it's too early, but it's definitely getting up there.
Demon Slayer's early too, then.
Demon Slayer
They're both on 2 seasons in one movie.
A lot of the new anime is
early,
not really, because Attack on Titan's been out for a long time. It just took it forever to finish.
Yeah.
So
I haven't even finished it.
Yeah, so I can't really put new anime in my top, but if I was to say like what is my top 5 anime, either past and present, I would definitely, I'm not even gonna do ranking in order at this point. Attack on Titan, Yu Yu Hakusho, Naruto, Berserk, and
Berserk's old anime too.
It is,
but it doesn't fit that kind of like it doesn't feel like old anime like DBZ.
Right. And I feel inclined to do Dragon Ball because my opinion, anime would not be where it is if it's not for Dragon Ball.
So I love Dragon Ball. I watched Dragon Ball, then Dragon Ball Z. And I know Dragon Ball Z is everyone's favorite, but I loved learning all the origins. How can you love DBZ when all the origins happened in Dragon Ball? All the characters you see for the first time. Piccolo was an enemy in Dragon Ball. He's an ally already in DBZ. And I loved the whole, like, I grew up playing Street Fighter. I loved the tournament aspect of Dragon Ball. And it just felt very much like a video game fighter, where DBZ, their sagas were more epic in scope, and it definitely wasn't tournament based anymore. But even seeing Goku as a kid, to grow up with him as an adult, to him having his own kid, like that was fire, man.
Yeah, and I think like Super, for example, it gets a lot of hate, and some of it is warranted. Like they've jacked up the power scale pretty well. Like when the tournament, I don't know if you've seen the Tournament of Power.
No.
Yeah,
Well, even his power level is over 9,000. How fast does that go out the window?
Yeah,
where that even matters.
He's always and that's cool. He's always reaching new heights. Like
Right.
even when the new one's gonna come out here soon, he's gonna be like an angel, and that's cool. Like this is Goku. I mean, nothing matches the power scale of Dragon Ball Z.
It is crazy how he was dead for such a big part of Dragon Ball Z in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean,
Running through that snake way for like multiple
yeah,
episodes.
that was.
remember
watching that as
it.
a kid was crazy, man. Like we really watching this dude run on a snake way.
And like, is he gonna come back to life or what, man?
Yeah.
Is somebody gonna gather the Dragon Balls and wish him back or not?
Yeah, and I got Kyle, one of them. He's big Goku fan. Loves Majin Vegeta, but you can't tell me nothing about Majin Vegeta. I solely believe, and I know plot armor is a big thing.
Yeah.
He would have beat when he was Majin Vegeta. He would have beat Goku with the way he was attacking.
People
him.
love Vegeta. You know what's funny? My daughter always makes fun of me because she's big into anime. Because I always love the main characters. I always love Goku. I always love Denji, Chainsaw Man. I always love. I always mess up his name from JJK.
Itadori.
Itadora or Tanjiro from Demon Slayer. Like, the main characters are always my favorite characters for some reason. Even though Itadoro is not really, like, the main character. Like, in the beginning, he is.
Yeah, so...
But then he kind of, like, in the movie, he's not. Then it goes to Gojo.
They got a lot of quality characters
Yeah.
in JJK.
So that's a good point. So he doesn't feel like the main character because the secondary characters are also main characters.
Yeah, and they have great stories behind them.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, dude... Oh, well, you're probably not that far yet, so I'm not going to say
Nah, I think I'm only, like, 5 episodes into season 2.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, well, because in season 2, the first 5 episodes take place after the movie, and then it goes back to real time after that. So I think I'm maybe 3 episodes. I must be on like episode 8 or 9 of season 2.
Yeah, you getting there?
Yeah,
for sure.
My daughter's so crazy. She just read like the most recent chapter. Comes down the stairs crying because she's reading it up to date online and everything. I guess something happened.
Yes, sounds like anime.
Yeah.
Yeah, love anime for sure.
So damn. So during that time, channels cranking, pandemic hits. We're home. We got stimmy checks.
Oh yeah, getting money.
We're buying Omnibus. We're selling Omnibus. We're making the hobby fund itself. Did you ever buy any statues?
One.
Which one?
And it was the old man Logan.
Oh, okay. Logan from Sideshow.
Yeah, Logan. Daniel Bell.
That was dope.
I thought that was, for one, I'm just a natural. Everybody's a Wolverine fan, but I had to have that one. It was something about him being in the classic bar.
Yeah.
Somebody pissed him off.
Yeah.
And now he's got to, get out of character.
You didn't mind that he had the fabric pants?
It didn't bother me.
Yeah.
And I think
you kind of forget when it's on the shelf too.
And what's crazy is I think I felt like that because there was some point where like there's a lot of fabric capes like with Superman and whatnot. And,
Sideshow tends to do the fabric capes.
Yeah, and like one of them was like it didn't really bother you.
Yeah.
And I just felt like I needed to adapt and like, oh, that don't really bother me. And it really didn't for that.
Yeah, like even for me, like out of my statues now, everyone has sculpted capes except for that cyborg Superman. And it's like, I don't really think about it. I mean, I would have rather it had a sculpted cape, but
sculpted is cooler. It's when like the outfit is not sculpted, the cape when it's all fabric. Now we got an issue.
Because then you might as well not even have a sculpture underneath.
You got a
all
doll.
that.
You got a doll at this point.
I used to always mess with people when they would get like hot toys with the hair.
Yeah,
like you're gonna bust out your brush and brush your doll's hair.
Yeah, what's crazy is when I first went to go try and buy my first statue because I saw the ones you had. Went to the local comic shop.
Yeah.
And I thought I knew what I was talking about at the time. thought I was brand new. I said, yeah, let me get a 6 scale, something like that. But it was a hot toy. I was like, oh, this thing is cold.
Yeah,
man, it was Punisher. It was cool, but had the fabric cape. He was like that tall. I thought I was the man.
well, not a fabric cape, but fabric clothes, right?
Yeah. Not the cape. I'm sorry, not the cape.
Yeah.
But he has that long.
Got the
trench
mixed
coat.
media. Well, that's like me. When I first got into statues, it's because I pre-ordered Wolverine vs. Hulk from Sideshow. And I'm like antsy waiting on them to ship this piece. So I go to my local comic shop at the time, was Past, Present, Future in West Palm Beach, Florida. And I'm like, oh shit, let me grab that Apocalypse and let me grab that Spider-Man. It was the Spider-Man comic kit by J. Scott Campbell. I didn't know it wasn't quarter scale. It was like 1/5 or 1/6 scale.
Yeah.
So when I get home and I'm putting them next to each other, I'm like, damn, this piece looks small as hell.
But wait, Wolverine? Or?
No, Spider-Man comiquette.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't realize it was a smaller scale, so that was kind of one of my learning moments. Like, oh shit, I gotta be careful that these different statues have different scales and a premium format and a comiquette and a maquette. They're all different terms and mean different things. And even to this day, we're not really sure what they all exactly mean. Because
no, I have no idea.
Sideshow tends to call things maquettes, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a certain scale or the same scale as another maquette. But so you only got one statue. The statue used to be another one where you would buy something, it would sell out, it would appreciate, so you could hold on to it as long as you want. But if you wanted to get that new shiny thing that came out, you could always sell it and most of the time turn a profit, if not at least break even. But see, those days are over right now. Right now, the aftermarket is not really, it's not like that in the aftermarket. Most of the time, you're selling a piece for less than what you paid for, making it harder to make the hobby fund itself.
Yeah.
Because you said that you kind of got out of the game. So when did you say that happened?
Well, let me rewind, because another thing that you did really influence me on, outside of just the statue, was the NECA Turtles, the quarter scale.
That's really what made me say I understand statue collectors.
Yeah.
Because when I used to go to Past, Present, Future and see, they would always display the statues, and I would be like, who would pay $800 for this?
Yeah.
But when I got that NECA Donnie in quarter scale, I was like, oh, damn, I use the term, the presence of this piece. Yeah. Now I can see why people collect these big ass statues.
Me and Kyle, we bought them together. That just kind of shows the kind of friendship we got, man. We bought them together.
Yeah, that's your partner in crime. That's your your enabler.
Oh yeah, he was my best man at my wedding, actually.
Yo, shout out Kyle, man.
Yeah, man, he a good dude.
We got to get him over here one day.
Oh, for sure. And so we both had them. And what's crazy for me is I was in college at the time, and I was in a photography class because I love photography. And for our final, we had to make things that are not real world look real world. So I took all 4 of those turtles.
Oh, you had an easy assignment with that.
Man, I went downtown Phoenix and I put them by the train station, and down by the sewers.
Yep, damn.
And it came out great. But what's really crazy is I was working at a gun shop at the time, and I can't remember his name. I got it in my phone. I took a picture of it. He was one of the producers of the Ninja Turtle movies from that same era.
Oh, the 90s movies?
Yeah, he was one of the producers. Not the main director, but like the guy underneath him.
Yeah, because Jim Henson Studios was behind the first 2 movies, I think.
I think his name was Robert something. But anyways, so he came into the shop, and he filled out the paperwork, and his name looked really familiar. And I'm like, are you such and such from the Ninja Turtle movies? He's like, yeah, that's me. And I showed him what I did for the college thing, and he pulled out his pocket one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie things, and he signed it, autographed it, and everything. Okay. I'll show it to you when we get done. But
I want to see those pictures too. I've always been a fan of those toy photographers. Yeah, that they take figures, and especially those turtle figures, bro. With the right perspective, you would think it's from the movie. Yeah. Like with Marvel Legends, you'll see the articulation, or it'll throw off the illusion. But with those pieces, I've seen some really great photographers do stuff with those, and they kept it going with Foot Soldiers, with Shredder, with Splinter. I was at the Toy Pit, Indianapolis, the other day, and they had some of them. If they would have had all 4, I probably would have bought them all back again.
I would still buy them. Man.
Did you? So you sold yours?
Yep, sold the turtles, and I wanted them back. And I was willing to. So I go on eBay.
I've done this a few times too with statues. Bought it back.
Yeah.
This podcast is brought to you by ThatSpidermanBooth.com. It's a new year and a new month, so you know they got a new book for their subscription box. First of all, you get 5 comics, $100 of retail value for just $50. And this month, you're going to get a copy of Essentia, issue number 1, the Jim Lee variant. This is the John Dolmayan book, the founder of Torpedo Comics, the drummer for System of a Down. Make sure to hit ThatSpidermanBooth.com and sign up for that subscription box today.
So I go on eBay doing the bidding war for all 4 of them. I think it was at like great deal too. Me and like, I don't know how many other bidders were in there.
Yeah.
Came down to the last maybe 5 seconds.
Don't tell me you got caught slipping.
$5.
Bro.
Got me for $5.
I've lost for less, and you're like, I would have paid so much more money than this.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole max bid thing with eBay. You got to use those sniper apps. You never heard of those? Mm-mm. So I had this sniper app called eBidder. And basically what you do is you set your max bid, but it doesn't bid it, and you can choose when do you want it to bid. And like the thing is you want to do it like 5 seconds before the auction ends. Because if you max bid, let's say it's a $10 item, you max bid $50, meaning you're willing to pay $50 for this thing. But if somebody bids, your max bid is going to auto bid the next highest bid. So if it's $10 and they bid 15, your max bid at 50 is going to like auto bid $20. And it'll keep auto bidding until it reaches your max. So what the trick is you set like a real high max bid, but it's still got to be the most you're willing to pay. Because what's going to happen is in the last 5 seconds, people are going to try to bid it up, but they're not going to really get high enough. And your bid is only going to be the next highest auto bid over their bid. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's the trick. I've only lost maybe a handful of times doing that, and it's because I didn't set my max bid high enough. I wasn't willing to pay. Let's say I put it at $100, but somebody else was willing to go that high. But most of the time, it max bids at that last 5-second interval, and then they're trying to catch it. But there's only 5 seconds to do it. So I don't know if I explained it good enough, but
no, that makes sense.
eBidder, I think it was the app. Huh. Yeah, because there's a pit in your stomach. You feel that when you lose.
I said $5. Are you kidding me? I would have given you another $50. What are we talking about?
Exactly what I'm saying,
man.
And then you're kicking yourself for not bidding more.
Yeah. But then you'll see like the next listings are like $600, $700. I'm like, I could have had that for $405.
Yeah, and then you gotta wait for another auction because you don't want to do to buy it now.
Yeah.
Them eBay days, man.
Yeah, I mean they still popping.
So you watching the videos, you watch the statue reviews. Kind of enabled you there, more so with the Omnibus. How many did you think you got up to? You got up to a big collection? You said like a 4x4 filled up.
Yeah, so I think the what the cubes are 4.
They have 4x4s.
There's 8 cubes, right?
No, 16.
No.
I'm there's saying, a 2x4. Yeah.
So I definitely filled those. What do you say? You feel like 5 or
4 to 5 in a
depending on what size, I guess.
I guess I was gonna look here, but these aren't calics.
But yes, man, I probably had at least 40 some, depending on like if you're doing absolutes and then an omnibus. So it depends on what.
A lot of people consider they kind of loop absolutes into with omnis.
Yeah,
it's kind of the same thing. It's just without filler.
It is because the Mark Miller Wolverine is that an omni or is that an absolute? Because it's skinny.
Right. Yeah. Well, see, an absolute will have one issue. Killing Joke is really one graphic novel. Mm-hmm. But an absolute is essentially for events.
Mark Millar. I'm sorry, Mark Millar.
Actually, it is Miller.
Oh, okay.
It just looks like it's Millar.
Yeah.
But he's corrected it already. It's Mark Miller.
Cool.
I finally am able to say it now. I used to always have to Mark Millar. I used to always have to correct myself.
Because it has my favorite story. My favorite story of all time. Old Man Logan.
See, the thing is, I don't know that people realize that because it's Wolverine by Mark Miller. Mm-hmm. It's like you'd have to really know the contents to know that it contains Old Man Logan because it has other stories in that omnibus.
Enemy of the State. I love that one.
Yeah. But an absolute is essentially the main story with no tie-ins. An omnibus has both. Mm-hmm. So, what's a good example of Hush? The Hush omnibus has these follow-up Hush stories that I never even knew existed. Like, this character came back after this series. Yeah. Hot take right now. Hush is overrated. Kyle, you with me on that? Hush?
He with you.
And that's Jeff Loeb writing.
Yeah, it is. I don't understand how it's overrated, though.
It's Jim Lee art because the art carries the story. The story is whack. Tell me, what's Hush's power set?
Well, it's not that he has a power set, but he's just capable of, I don't want to say manipulating.
Yeah.
Well, probably manipulating.
He's a behind-the-scenes mastermind.
Yeah, but so's the Riddler.
No, but so Riddler versus Hush.
Riddler.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I mean,
So you're a second-rate Riddler.
Hush is a one-off. I will say he's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
one-off, but it's a good.
Okay, hold on.
one-off.
Hush will whoop Riddler's ass though. He could fight. He could throw down. He can go toe to toe with Batman.
Yeah, really can't throw no hands. We know that.
That's what I'm saying. So he's Riddler, but he could fight.
But at the same time, you're not just gonna find Riddler.
No,
He gonna be somewhere that you wouldn't even think
Right.
he'd be. It's just so,
catch him if you can.
Yeah, and he gonna have a riddle for you. Catch me if you can.
But Hush could catch him. I think so. That's you know what? Hold on. Let me take it back then. Hush is smart. He's a doctor. He's a fighter. He probably could find Riddler, and if he finds him, it's going to be a problem for Riddler.
yeah, Riddler. Like,
But Riddler, to me, like he's the master schemer and trapper.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give that to Hush. Hush is good at getting other people to do his bidding too.
yeah,
I forget. I was talking with Boba Fett about it,
Yeah.
and I couldn't remember how he got Poison Ivy to do what he wanted her to.
yeah.
do.
I mean, I read that.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Back in like 2016, 2017. I was reading it on the another one on the jail block. Just
Yeah.
reading the book.
It's funny. It sounds like you were in jail.
Yeah, I know.
You were reading it on the jail block,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you were
yeah.
not locked up.
Inmates asking, what is that? Oh, that's a new, it's Hush.
Yeah.
But
You got to put them on. You got to watch Jim and Collectibles.
oh yeah. Yeah. But so yeah, I think Hush is a. I will say this, because I think Boba Fett was talking about what book should I read. You know,
DC wise,
yeah,
or
DC wise.
Yeah, because he
I
wasn't
said
a DC guy.
I think those are good entry level
Yeah.
books.
Because you don't have to have prior knowledge.
No, you don't.
You have Jim Lee art. They made an amazing statue line out of it. Like the Batman. When you guys see his reaction, the Batman Hush, that is ripped out from the panel.
Absolutely.
And holding the cape and all that.
That is, and if you guys haven't seen it yet, I'm sure. Hopefully, you guys seen the end of the year tour.
Oh yeah.
Probably the best statue in here. It is truly just.
It's my favorite Batman statue.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So are you saying that the Batman Hush is the best statue in this room? Or your favorite? Let's say your favorite.
Okay, yes, it is my favorite, but for me to say the best statue in here, the diorama of the Sentinels is just crazy.
But see, that gets to be cheating.
Exactly, because it's more than one statue.
Even if you talk about just the one of the dios, it has multiple characters in
Yeah.
it. So it's kind of like, but I usually will say that too. What's your favorite statue? I'll be like, yo, the Sentinel dios.
Yeah, they're crazy.
But then if I want to pick,
If I'm taking one and going home, I'm taking the Batman Hush for
damn,
sure.
I can see that.
I
Even
think-
over the Venom life-size bust, you didn't really.
I don't like Bus.
I can see that you didn't really pause on that too
No,
long.
I don't like Bus.
But you don't see the detail in that crazy.
No,
map?
it's crazy, but this Bus just don't do it for me.
So Batman Hush over Superman Hush
For sure. And maybe it's by some Batman.
Batman,
guy.
yeah,
Superman he's like Goku, right?
yeah.
Goku takes L's, Superman takes
But
L's.
I'm a main character fan.
Well, there you go.
So Batman is Vegeta and Superman is Goku.
Nah, we ain't gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. We're
Now,
not
but
gonna do
Superman,
that.
I have a soft spot for Superman. Just Death of Superman.
Yeah.
Me-
Now that's you know what's funny, and I don't know if you have it.
that omnibus.
Both of them though.
Which one? Oh, which one?
The first one where it had the cover that flipped
Oh yeah.
open, and then the second one didn't. I don't think,
I forget which one I have. I ended up upgrading to the most recent printing,
which is very nice.
the black dust jacket.
But I always wanted the white one. I think it was white.
No, they had one that was ugly as hell. That was a wraparound cover.
I like that one.
Oh, that shit was ugly, man. But it was cool because it was Death of Superman on the front and Reign of Superman on the back,
Mm-hmm.
which made sense because that's what the omnibus is. It's like those two stories.
Yeah,
But I like that sleek black with the flag.
it is
cape.
nice. It is nice. That's probably a top 5 story all time. I don't care between Marvel and DC.
I mean, for me too. But see, I think the older generation would disagree and say it was a gimmick. They just
think
killed
they're-
Superman. They hate on Doomsday. I'm like, I love the mindless, strong beast that it took him to basically he had to die fighting him. It took everything in him to defeat Doomsday.
How do you not?
I love Doomsday, man. I was always a fan of Doomsday.
Doomsday is cold. Doomsday is cold.
So also when I think about you, right, I think about the live shows. You used to catch the live shows a lot.
All the time.
With me and Fee, my wife,
Yeah.
we would go live every Sunday
Yeah.
for years, yo.
Yeah, because I mean, and at one point, I was doing the whole moderator thing. And,
Oh, damn. That's right.
I was with y'all.
I
And,
remember that.
Yeah, it was a good day. Spina, shout out to Mike Spina.
Mike Spina.
Brandon, that's my dog.
Yeah.
Chad,
Yeah, Chad Fister.
I'm missing one. Don't pack me up.
Wesley.
Yeah. He's still every time I post something, he's still.
Yeah, he's still in the mix. All
Yeah.
of them are still in the mix. Brandon and Chad, not as much. You know, people have their lives, and you know, they have, you know, but they're still there though, for sure.
Those was a good day.
Spina's still holding it down. Yo, those for you, who you telling?
Man,
that
fun.
Was the GemMint heyday right there,
yo. Those were fun, man.
Yo, the thing is, it was quarantine. Everybody was home.
Yeah.
Everybody was finding these things that were nostalgic to us. A lot of us got back into the hobby around that time. Even myself, like I recently got back. Well, I got back into the hobby more so with the MCU and finding eBay. Like I was talking about this. I don't want to repeat on every podcast, but finding eBay, buying the stuff from my childhood that I had or that I could never afford.
Yeah.
And then eventually starting the channel. That shit just hit at the right time. Like the channel gets established for like 2.5 years, and then boom, everyone's locked down at home watching YouTube.
Yeah.
So now coming out of that, it's a weird feeling, man. It's kind of like how we were talking when I took you to Stinking Lincoln. Like you said, you kind of got out of the game around the time after Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
And I feel like what I tell you, I think like 70% of
I think a lot of us did
got out of it that were into it at that time.
And
so what do you think it was? Did you like Avengers Endgame?
Oh, I loved it.
So I did love it, but I totally get and agree with the criticism about the quantum realm, about using time travel.
What's wrong with that?
Because nothing matters, man. Nothing matters if you could just go back and change it.
Yeah, but in the same breath, that's, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you're the.
Oh, it's comic booky all day.
It's comic book accurate that they did go back in the past and they did come back and Captain America did wield, you know, Thor's hammer. So this stuff is real.
Well, that's the problem, that nobody truly dies in comic books. So that's why I think one of the reasons why anime is winning. Because someone dies in anime, 9 times out of 10, they're going to stay dead.
Unless you go
well, actually, you know what?
Yeah.
Let me take that back, because not in Dragon Ball, and even in JJK. Well, actually not. Homeboy didn't come back. You thought he came back, but it really wasn't him.
Yeah, it was they jacked me up on that one.
So
even in Naruto, like you can bring some people back.
Okay. So let me take that back then. But it's all too tropey in comics that if someone dies, he'll be back, whether it's comics or in the movies or whatever.
Yeah, because especially in like DC, like this whole the Lazarus Pit, and they come back immortality.
Yeah, but I like the Lazarus Pit. You come back, but you're not really the same.
Oh no,
you're a little bit messed up.
You a monster.
Yeah,
my man. What's the dog's name?
Ra's al Ghul.
Ra's al Ghul, man. You ain't doing nothing with him.
Yeah.
But
So what drove? So the live show. So you were just a fan of the channel, and then we were doing these lives, and it's kind of like a different vibe, right? Like you're in there free talking, interacting with the chat, and all that.
Yeah, I mean, once upon a time, like when you first like really start out, like when I wasn't a moderator at the time, I couldn't wait to. I don't even know who. I think it was just Spina at the time that was doing the moderated thing for a little bit.
Well, because when you say moderator, you're talking about on the YouTube or on the Facebook group?
On the YouTube.
Okay. I think it was all the same people anyway.
It really was, in my opinion.
I think we had more. I think we had Harm was a moderator on YouTube because he wasn't on Facebook.
Okay.
But he was always around, so it was like, fuck it, you might as well get a wrench.
Yeah. So that's what I was really looking forward to doing, because I was really invested in that. Like I mentioned, like I remember, like I didn't mean. There's a lot of Geminites in there that probably knew way more than me, for sure.
Oh,
there's people Geminites right now watching that probably know.
But I'll be the first one to say I don't know everything. Like I said before, I got into reading more so when you guys met me, starting the channel, finding Omnibus. I grew up just like a casual kid who grew up around this stuff.
Yeah.
But I didn't grow up reading comics like that.
Yeah. But I just knew I wanted to moderate. I was like, man, I want to be a part of this. This is great. This is cool. And it still is. It just, I think a lot of us, we get distracted by other things. You had a video that came out recently saying, talking about, what got you out of it or what's getting you back into it, which both things are true for me.
But are you talking about from the clips from with Boba Fett?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was actually another one in the in the room
talking about is the statue hobby dying? Is the Omnibus hobby dying?
I can touch on all that. But for me personally, why I got out, I felt like there was other hobbies I wanted to get into. I want to build my own PC, so I built my own PC.
Boom, sell a few Omnibus and paid for itself.
Yeah, exactly. And then once I got my own PC, man, I was hooked on that thing, playing games and stuff.
Well, that's why I say, you get other interests, other hobbies. You want to maybe get into cars. Maybe you're a gun guy. Maybe you whatever, and you want to.
Sure.
So I totally get it. But you make me want to bring the live shows back. Fee wants to do the live shows again.
They're fun, man.
I wonder if we should do the live shows from here on these couches like this, even maybe. I don't know.
It'd be. I mean, I'd watch them.
Yeah.
But so
We'll see.
yeah, live shows was the heat back in the day. Cause even my boy Kyle, he tuned in. Like he's not one to sit there and watch something all day long, but he's definitely going, pop in, say what's up, all the time.
Yeah,
so it was definitely the vibe back in the day.
Yeah.
But so I'm gonna ask the questions now.
All right.
I'm gonna ask the questions.
Hit me with it.
So I see all the books, all the omnis in here. There has to be, outside of, I don't even know if you'd even read, The Return of Superman, but what is the number one?
Go ahead, yeah.
What's the number one in here?
So my favorite omnibus out of every single omnibus in here.
I know you made a video about it. I didn't watch it, so that's something I'll ask when I get here.
And that's always a changing list too, like how you were saying earlier. Like I know my favorites are. I did read the Death and Return of Superman front to back and did a review on it, because I read it as a kid, the trade paperbacks. So it's up there. It was right before I moved over here, so I did a whole thorough review of it. It's hard not to. Okay, then how do I choose over Marvel and DC even?
It's easy for me. I like DC, but
I think my favorite omnibus in this whole room is Spider-Man vs. Venom.
Really?
Spider-Man vs. Venom has the first appearance of Venom, his first encounters and battles with Spider-Man. It has the 14-issue Maximum Carnage series, which is one of the first trade paperbacks that I grabbed and read, along with Death and Return of Superman. So if you ask me right now, my number one would be Spider-Man vs. Venom. My number two would be Death and Return of Superman omnibus. Both of those stories are nostalgic for me and my first reads as a kid. And I just feel like Spider-Man vs. Venom has a little bit more bang for your buck. It's more versatile. It's not just one story, but it has, a lot of symbiote action, a lot of Venom stuff, Carnage stuff. So it has more versatility and more nostalgia for me, I think. Plus, I love the artwork from that era. I love the characters. In Maximum Carnage alone, you get Demo Goblin, you get Shriek, Doppelganger Spider-Man. You get so many colorful characters. That's got to be my number one.
Okay.
So let me flip it back on you then. Before you ask me, if you could take one omnibus home from this whole room, it could be an absolute or whatever. What would you go home with?
Man, that is a tough one, because some of these I haven't even read, and I really want to read.
It could be something that you just always were interested in. I mean, yeah.
Man, I'm gonna have to really sit here and think about that one, man.
Do you still have any omnis, or did you get rid of all of them?
I only have a couple.
You have the Mark Miller still, Wolverine?
No.
Dang.
You know what?
Would that be it?
I've already had it, but I'm gonna take it again.
I was looking at it down there.
Yeah,
I was like,
I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna do it again, because I know how hard it is to get.
You must have sold it because it was probably going for a good amount. You were like, you know what? This is a good flip right here.
Because I don't think that ever came back in print. If it did, it's not in print anymore. I don't think.
I don't know. I honestly don't really keep up with it, because once I have it, it's like,
I feel you.
Unless I was going to go to sell it, but
I really wanted Batman and Robin for a really long time.
Man, I was disappointed with it. Yeah. If you remember my review,
I do.
I didn't like it.
I wanted because that's
Damian Wayne.
I love Damian Wayne.
Damian Wayne is my favorite Robin.
Absolutely.
He's the only true Robin. He's the only Wayne Robin.
Okay, facts. Okay, yeah, I'm with that.
People will say probably Dick Grayson is the only true Robin.
So now let me ask you this, and you might just think about it.
All right.
I'm gonna start with the movie era, or the movie platform first.
All right.
Would you say that Batman, the Batverse, is carrying DC?
Oh, I don't have to even think about that.
Okay,
100%.
Good.
It's like, you ever see that meme where it's like a leaking tank of water and they just slap electrical tape on it?
Yeah.
So like DC Universe is dying, Batman movie.
Now I'm gonna go a step further. Now think about this one.
All right.
The Bat trilogy. So you already know what that is.
Yeah.
And we can throw in the Robert Pattinson one just to buffer it a little bit. Would you say that it is better than anything in the Marvel movie category? The trilogy. So say Endgame.
So you're basically telling me is the Dark Knight trilogy, the Dark Knight trilogy versus the MCU is kind of what you're saying. Yeah. So there's going to be bias here.
Sure.
But I'm going to go with the MCU. I'm going to go with the fact that you had the 4 different franchises, independent movies, beautiful origin stories, coming together, forming like Voltron for the Avengers, then the subsequent Avengers movies leading to Infinity War, ending with Endgame, which I think Infinity War is the stronger of the two movies, but I still liked the ending, to have an ending of it. So I think the interlocking, the gathering of the Infinity Stones, the coming of Thanos, I feel like that's more than what we got with the Dark Knight trilogy. With the Dark Knight trilogy, I mean, Batman Begins and Dark Knight Rises are just kind of like, they're cool. It's really all about the Dark Knight with Heath Ledger.
I don't agree with that.
So step it back. So Dark Knight Rises?
I like that one.
I mean,
was dope.
You could like it, but I mean, you got Catwoman, you got Bane, you got Tom Hardy's Bane. So you're a fan of that portrayal of Bane?
No, but
okay.
But I felt like if you had I don't know, say Bane's 8 foot.
Right. Monster Bane.
How do you make that into a grounded Batman?
We see
movie?
what happens when they try to do that. Yeah, grounded, exactly.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
that ain't it. So I was okay with it.
So the Dark Knight trilogy has a good portrayal of Bruce Wayne, Lucius Fox, Alfred, so you do have that going throughout the three movies. But I don't know. I think Batman Begins is dope. Dark Knight is great. Probably one of the best comic book movies of all time.
I'm gonna just say.
But the world cosmos building MCU,
the darkness of Gotham, and like the crime and the like the realism. Like,
grounded.
That is the thing that for me, that I can relate to the most.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many times you rewatch movies. Maybe not really.
Those movies I've watched a good amount of times.
So the trilogy I can watch many times.
I've been wanting to rewatch it recently because I watched the Batman again on the plane ride coming back from Singapore. So I was like, and I watched American Psycho for the first time recently, and I'm like, damn, you know what? I kind of want to rewatch the Dark Knight trilogy.
But I couldn't watch No Way Home again.
No, but I'm just talking phase 1 through 3, and I'm really just talking all the movies leading up to the first Avengers, then Avengers 2.
You can watch all that again.
Hell yeah. What? Yeah, I would love to do a rewatch of Phase 1, Phase 2, but I mean, there's movies that you could miss me on, like Iron Man 2 and 3, Dark World 2.
What I was alluding to is, man, you know what? Because I do think Joker, that standalone Joker was dope.
The Joaquin Phoenix?
Yes.
So you're looking forward to the sequel?
If it's really going to be a musical, as they say, which I really don't think it is. I think it's going to be...
I mean, you're going to have Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn, but...
Yeah, and I saw her. I think she looked cool.
She was good in American Horror Story, right? So it's not like she's a bad actress or anything.
So if it's going to be 100... I think people are judging it, and they were the same thing when Joker first came out. Oh, it's going to be horrible.
First of all, when Michael Keaton was cast as Batman, people were up in arms. They never liked the castings.
Oh, man, we need to touch on that. But my whole thing with the trilogy was, I felt like if you were going to take the three greatest things like of Marvel, so Endgame, Infinity War, probably
the first Avengers, the first Iron Man.
No. You think those are better than Endgame, Infinity War, and No Way Home?
I think my tie for best MCU movies is Iron Man 1 and Avengers 1.
I don't know how you can say that because Endgame, No Way Home, that's just like Boba Fett said, that's never going to be done again. I hope it will because I think Secret Wars has really potential to.
But hold on, Avengers 1 is never going to be done again.
Why not?
But it was the first time that was ever done. You had Iron Man come out, Robert Downey Jr. kills the role, amazing origin story. You got Thor 1, you got Cap 1, you have
when you say the first time being done, like a first team assembly,
the first.
Well, yeah, if you're the first to do it,
creating a shared cinematic universe.
Fair enough. Yes.
And then it did have Incredible Hulk, which I know you did say when we were at Lincoln, you liked that Edward Norton Hulk.
For sure.
And then the first event, I love the first Avengers movie. Tom Hiddleston as Loki. I was gonna say for the first time, but for the second time.
You know one thing I didn't like about that movie?
What's that?
And correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but it ended with Hulk just slamming him.
Yeah.
Like Loki was supposed to be the baddest thing on Earth. And then Hulk just boom, boom, boom.
Well, look how Guardians 1 ended.
Oh man,
Guardians 1 is a great movie, but it ended with a dance battle.
I didn't see it.
You didn't see Guardians 1?
Nah, but I did see 3.
Bro,
I like 3.
I think Guardians of the Galaxy might be the MCU movie that I've seen the most.
I didn't. Something about
because you didn't know the characters. Neither did I.
I knew of Star-Lord. I didn't know about anybody else.
I didn't know about it. I knew. No, I didn't know about none of them characters. I don't think.
They just.
You're tripping
and
right
I
now.
watched the third one. And
Alec,
I
you got homework to do, man.
I said I've been out the game. Well, that's no excuse. That's been out for a hot minute.
Come on.
They don't appeal to me. I don't know. I think they're
Guardians 1 is a great movie.
they did add more longevity.
But here's the thing about Hulk. In Avengers 1, it was established that he couldn't voluntarily change into the Hulk. He basically had to get you had to make him angry. You had to physically hurt him to change into the Hulk. So when he voluntarily changes into Hulk to punch that big space monster, goosebumps type of scene. And then at the end, him slamming Loki just shows his strength. Like, yo,
yeah, but this
you're nothing, puny god. Yo, that just showed, and that's the downfall of Hulk was that you had that Hulk leading into Smart Hulk and leading into She-Hulk's version of Hulk, where she runs him over with a Jeep.
It went down,
and it's
that was wild.
It's like you go from, and Thanos pieced him up. I mean, that was still a good Hulk, but
so was that the humbling moment for Hulk?
That was his. He ain't been the same since.
Nah, I guess not. And that's just the way they write it. Because I think Hulk could be, man, we talking about, like, you know what, a really good omnibus, you already know, Planet Hulk.
Oh, yeah. It was a great one. And it's a thinner omnibus.
World War Hulk. Man, he could be a monster if they make a good movie with him.
And the thing is, they already kind of used a lot of that storyline for Thor Ragnarok, which is one of the reasons why I like Ragnarok.
Let's not talk about Thor.
But I liked, so they realized Thor: The Dark World, something got to change. It was not a good movie. It was boring, dull. And then when they did like a outtake of like a webisode Thor, it was this version of Thor that we would get from now on. I want to say it was an outtake for Avengers 2, where he had a roommate and he had like, it was like he was in the real world as a regular person, and they took that version of Thor, and that's who we got in Ragnarok. That's who we got in Love and Thunder and all these subsequent movies.
You want to talk about somebody that they dropped the ball on? Is Thor?
You want to hear another Gem Mint hot take?
Sure.
I think I might have even said this with Boba Fett. I rewatched Thor: Love and Thunder the other day on that same plane ride.
Don't say it.
Not that bad of a movie. It's not that bad of a movie.
I don't think the film's still running after that one. You go ahead and turn this off, man.
So I was a fan of Thor Ragnarok. The community is very split on Ragnarok. There's people that love it. There's people that hate it. I was more on the fan side. I loved getting the Planet Hulk storyline in there. Jeff Goldblum as the Grandmaster. I can't remember who even though was the main villain in. Oh, Hela. Hela was great.
That one, his sister, Loki's.
Yeah.
Oh,
They both of them. Their sister. You had the death of Odin.
That's irrelevant. I'm.
Look, you haven't seen Guardians 1. Opinion is invalid.
Yeah, I got like I said, I got a lot of stuff to do. For
Yeah.
sure. And I'm gonna start off by watching Echo today because I think it's gonna be cool.
It's 5 episodes. Maybe I should watch it.
How do you feel about the direction for Robert Pattinson with his Batman? Because I don't think this is gonna be one of those things where you have two Batmans at the same time, like how we had. They tried to do the whole Joker thing, but I don't think they're gonna keep going with that. Like, do you think he's gonna be a successful Batman moving forward? Because clearly he's gonna have a new movie, I think, next year.
Yeah, and I heard that James Gunn is not opposed to having him in his new universe. A lot of this rests on what James Gunn is going to do.
That is true.
But I wouldn't mind having Robert Pattinson going forward. I'm already over the fact that Ben Affleck is not going to be Batman anymore.
Man, that is insane.
Yo, I was on board with that universe. They really messed up with Batman vs Superman. They should have did Man of Steel 2.
Yeah,
I agree. They messed up with they put too many storylines in that one movie. You had Death of Superman. You had the Dark Knight Returns, Frank Miller, Batman vs Superman storyline.
I'm surprised you had a man with the rifle at that point.
you had the Injustice storyline. Like, they had so many things, and they wasted and they butchered Doomsday.
Yeah, they moved too fast.
The Death and Return of Superman, they butchered that. But Robert Pattinson. I mean, I rewatched that movie recently. It seems like it's up your alley with the whole crime world, the underbelly, the Falcone,
this is the first
Maroni.
Time, I don't want to say the first time, but it seems like Robert Pattinson was the first Batman to emphasize on the detective part of like really getting in the lab and seeing where these stuff, because he walks in the room, he looking around. It was kind of cheesy. But he walking with the leather boots on. You hear it creaking.
But that slow walk,
Yeah.
that shit was kind of dope.
It was.
And keep in mind, this was an early Batman.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
imagine
yeah.
we see him a little bit more experienced
Yeah.
and mature. Now, the thing is, so Colin Farrell he played a great role as Penguin.
yeah.
I don't know that it's my favorite depiction of Penguin. Just like with Riddler, that's
it.
not my favorite Riddler. They were, I guess, more realistic and grounded. It wasn't Danny DeVito and Jim Carrey. You know,
I like the Riddler. I thought, for one, I like him as an actor, but I thought the casting. I was a little shocked by the Colin Farrell pick. I was like, man, how you gonna play? But it turned out great.
Yeah. It almost could have been anybody because it didn't look or resemble Colin Farrell.
Not at all.
But could anyone have done what he did with it? I don't know. I mean, he did a great job. I would never take that away from him. Selena Kyle, Catwoman?
I'm personally a what's my girl's name?
Michelle Pfeiffer or Anne Hathaway?
I'm personally an Anne Hathaway fan.
Anne Hathaway. I,
really
don't
am.
remember her really throwing down as much, though. Was she in a lot of fight scenes in Dark Knight
She
Rises?
had like one. It was real minor, but if they move forward with Selena Kyle, I'm not mad about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't
I'm
be
cool
mad.
with
I
it.
wouldn't be mad if they move forward, or I guess they're gonna move forward. I'm not mad at the Robert Pattinson universe. I never doubted him. Oh, Twilight, this and that. Look, Michael Keaton was Mr. Mom, so I never would judge a book by its cover like that. I think he did fine. Yeah, a little bit more on the emo side. I mean, Batman is a little emo. He wears black makeup around his eyes, or
He's young. I mean, I think everybody knew going in it's gonna be like year 1, year 2 type Batman.
yeah, motorcycle Batman, all that.
But then what you just mentioned about Batfleck, I do think so. I'm glad I'm here for this. The Flash movie.
Oh shit!
Did you see it?
Yeah.
What, like,
The
and you had this conversation with Boba Fett, and I'm sorry we got to keep bringing up Boba Fett, but that was a great interview.
appreciate it. Thank you.
And there was a lot of things in there. It's like I got to touch on that while I'm here because there were things I wanted to say.
Jumping in, right?
Yeah,
Right.
and you touched on how what's
Ezra Miller.
Ezra Miller. He was doing way too much for my man Jonathan Majors to get packed up like that. Way too much.
Now there's rumors that Jonathan Majors is going to be potentially rehired by Marvel. I didn't get a chance to watch. He did his first on-screen interview since the guilty verdicts.
I did on ABC, but why would you go on ABC?
Yeah, something like that. I didn't see it.
I'm like, why not do that instead of going there?
Yeah.
Why not go to like Shannon Sharp show?
Shannon Sharp.
Shay Shay.
Well, I bet you a lot of people are going to be more inclined to hit Shay Shay up now
Absolutely.
after Cat Williams started off the year with a bang.
You got to. He said you're way too something to be messing with losers or something.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
what is that line he said?
It was really particular. I liked it though. It was clever.
Cat Williams. If you guys, I'm sure you've probably seen or heard of it by now. This thing's got like 40 million views. 2.5 hour interview. Cat Williams going off with receipts.
With receipts.
So we kind of talked about this backstage. You're on Team Cat.
Oh, for sure.
Cat versus the world.
Absolutely.
Nah, Cat Williams has always been solid ever since. I've always been on Team Cat, even though he's been a little bit crazy. Got 17 arrests, no convictions.
Yeah. Hey.
Prison is not the same thing as jail. Only one of us has $12 worth of jewelry on.
Yeah.
But Cat, I've always been on Team Cat. He spoke a lot of facts. He got a lot of people scared, a lot of people responding, but nobody called him a liar. Did you see Ludacris' response?
I did.
Bro, how are you going to talk about this man's wife and you respond with a whack-ass freestyle?
I did like the freestyle.
Bro.
I'm biased against Ludacris. That was my guy
So I was a
up.
big Ludacris fan coming up. He was a likable guy. Not that he was the hardest rapper, but he had bars.
Oh, yeah. Did you see his, during the pandemic, what was it called? Like the 1v1s. He did it with Nelly.
The verses.
The
only thing I can't unsee is Ludacris taking a big-ass bite of peanut butter in that damn commercial. He's doing these peanut butter commercials.
Yeah. Oh, that brings me back to another thing. Y'all slandering the Fast and Furious, man. Y'all not right. That's my stuff. I don't care how many.
I know there's people like you out there who love these movies.
Front row with the popcorn, man.
Oh, you're wilding, man.
Front row, every single one. I don't care if they go back.
You're
in
part of the
time.
problem.
I guess I'm gonna be the problem.
So they're basically the Avengers in cars.
Hey,
if they go back
I tell
in time,
everybody they are nothing. Don't go into it thinking it's the first one. Go into it thinking of a budget Avengers.
Yeah,
like they're the poor man Avengers.
It's the car Avengers.
Yeah, when Vin Diesel flipped that car over, what?
I'm not mad at any of them. Get your checks.
Hey,
and look, if you like the movies, they're fun movies. Go watch some car fucking heist movies.
Those are the movies that you take your high school sweetheart. Hey, you want to go catch an action movie tonight?
Yeah.
New Fast and
I'm
Furious?
with you.
Yeah, it's got a place.
They made 10 of them.
We about to have 3 more. If
It's
I'm
a
not
little
mistaken.
much.
On top of the Ezra Miller thing with the Flash movie. See, that's the thing with Justice League, that they dropped the gold mine. I never personally liked Jason Momoa. I don't think he's a bad actor, don't get me wrong. But I feel like they were just relying too much on his heritage to be Aquaman. And I'm like, why not? And that was one of the things, like, I say, you don't have to make the character look like the character.
Right.
But that was your only cop-out. And then Ezra Miller is nothing like
It just goes back to what I was speaking about with Dolan, with Drew. Whatever happened to perfect casting? That's not the perfect casting for Barry Allen or Aquaman. Although I didn't hate his Aquaman. Like, he kind of owned it and made it his own thing.
Why is all the movies now with whether it be DC or Marvel, why is it all like a comedy show?
Oh.
Like, why is everything funny?
MCU set the standard for that. Because remember, it used to be, until Deadpool made fun of it in Deadpool 2, that MCU was lighthearted and it's all dark and brooding. What is this, a DC movie? Like,
and that's why I love Batman so much, because you don't get that.
Batman's
not in there cracking jokes.
Well, even with Man of Steel, it wasn't a bright, sunny movie, even to the point of getting criticism that it was a muted color and it's red, white, and blue Superman.
Yeah.
But I liked that they had a different tone and they were in a different lane than the MCU. Anytime they tried to copy the MCU is where they messed up. Try to rush a shared universe, try to add the jokiness to it, try to bring Josh Whedon on to try to capture the spirit of the Avengers in the Justice League movie.
Because the Snyder cut was great.
Oh yeah, the 4-hour joint. Yeah, I did enjoy that.
I thought that
Martian
was great.
Manhunter. You get Darkseid.
But I think the only thing that the Flash did right in the movie, for me, was they really gave. I remember seeing the commercial when you saw Ben Affleck's Batman like flying through on the freeway, on the highway, like flying through there. I'm like, man, they dropped such a gold mine with this guy.
Yeah.
And then bringing back Michael Keaton, but he was going off with all the CGI.
So I didn't really like him at first, like the feral old man Michael Keaton. Mm-hmm. Him suited up as Batman with CGI, I liked. Because you never seen him move like
no,
that.
You have not.
In them old movies with no neck turn.
Yeah.
So you never saw him actually get down.
Yeah.
So that was cool to see. I loved the multiverse scene. I loved seeing the Nick Cage Superman scene.
I'll be honest with you, I did not know he was. But he never had a movie.
The movie never came out. There's behind the scenes footage of him in that suit, and the spider scene is from the script that Kevin Smith wrote. And I remember Kevin Smith was talking about it. He was saying it was some weird stipulation with the producers that there had to be a giant spider fighting scene. And he's like, I don't know why, but that was a requirement in the script. So
not the Cat Williams.
They recreated that scene that never really happened in real life. I thought that was cool, seeing the George Reeves Superman, the Christopher Reeves Superman. Even though the CGI was terrible in a lot of those scenes, when they zoomed into those parts, I really love that. That's Crisis on Infinite Earths type shit. That opening scene with the babies is the worst opening scene in any movie I've ever seen. It's egregious. I cannot believe that got greenlit by multiple levels of people. You saw the movie?
I saw the movie.
Are you a father?
Yeah.
So you have boys or girls?
Girl.
You have girl. Okay. Well, I don't know why I asked that, but I guess maybe girl dads might have a little bit more sensitivity to them. I know I do. I'm a girl dad. What did you feel watching this opening scene with these babies and putting them in the microwave?
Okay, that was a little weird, but
it didn't bother you. Is what I'm
not gonna say it didn't bother me. I just feel like it could have been done so much better.
I just thought it was
because what it does, it puts you in, like, say something catastrophic did happen to a hospital and you see all these babies coming down from the sky.
You got to save them all. For sure.
So how do you save them all? Well, we gonna make Flash save them all.
Yeah.
But it was just done so poorly, and although it got done, but it was just lame.
It was almost like cartoonish humor, but being that it was in live action with CGI, first of all, terrible CGI for the babies.
Why does he still run like this? What is that?
That movie sucked, man.
It was horrible. It was horrible. And what's crazy is I liked Supergirl. I thought she was cool.
I liked the Supergirl. So that was Superman in the Flashpoint storyline where he was all shriveled up. They kept him from the sun his whole life. I wasn't mad that they replaced it with the Supergirl. I guess it was Kara L, if I'm not mistaken. She was dope.
She did. She
did good.
I liked it. She didn't really say much, but didn't have to.
They dropped the ball not using Reverse Flash. They should have.
What's funny? Not funny. I thought the whole time when he was in the Speed Force.
Yeah.
I thought that was him in there.
Reverse Flash.
And then it wasn't.
Yeah, and then giving us 2 versions of an annoying Barry Allen.
Oh man,
we could have done without that.
Yeah, and I have not seen the new Aquaman, and I'm not going to see it.
Me neither.
It's
it did work. So when I was did the podcast with Boba Fett, we were talking about it. It hadn't come out yet, but by the time the video came out, it had already come out. It performed worse than the Marvels, which the Marvels was the worst performing MCU movie to date. Aquaman 2 did worse than that.
The recent one with
Captain Marvel,
really?
Brie Larson.
The worst one ever.
That's the worst one ever from MCU, and the Aquaman 2.
Worse than Iron Man?
Yeah. Iron Man, what, 3? Or what do you say? I think
3.
Iron Man 1, 2, and 3 probably all did really well.
I thought 3 was the... Okay, go ahead.
I think 3 critically was not liked as much. Okay. People don't like Iron Man. See, this is another bad movie take. I loved Iron Man 2. With Whiplash, with Mickey Rourke, with just Tony Stark being Tony Stark.
I think at the time we were like, it's just Iron Man, where's this going to go? But then you see where it went, and it's like, okay, that's incredible.
Yeah, but Iron Man 3 I did not like. Iron Man 3 was the next movie after the first Avengers movie, which was one of my favorite superhero movies of all time. One of my favorite MCU movies, like I said, tied for number 1. To follow it up with Iron Man 3, where he's not even Iron Man for the majority of the movie. He's dealing with like PTSD and this annoying-ass little kid. No, hated that movie. Yeah. And then the Extremis stuff mixed in with all that. Killian, what's the guy's name? Oh, man. And then Pepper Potts having the Extremis stuff and having Iron Man armor. Yeah. Shit was ridiculous, man.
That's Hollywood. That's what we got. I don't know what's really next. I mean, I know we talked about a little bit of Galactus or Doom next. You know what's crazy? I don't know very much about Doom.
Yeah, you know what?
But people love Doom.
I'm in the same boat as you. As much as I have read of these Omnis, and as much as
Does he have a book?
There is a compilation, Dr. Doom, the Book of Doom, which has a great graphic novel in there, which really does help. I mean, I learned a lot more about the character from that. And, you know, I say I don't know much about Doom, but when we get to talking, I guess I do know more about him. I still don't know why he's everyone's favorite. People will put him number 1 and Marvel
that's
villain.
his favorite character.
So you know what? To their point, he's always been bad. He's always been a villain. He's always been Doom. He's never compromised. He never became an anti-hero. He's never really been. I don't know if I want to say that, but he's always been Doom.
Yeah.
A lot of times with Marvel villains, look at Venom, look at Sabretooth. These guys have become anti-heroes and villains of heroes and such. He's been consistently Doom. He's got tech powers. He's got magic powers. So he's kind of got the best of both worlds. He runs his own country. He's a dictator, but his people love him. I don't know. I guess I could see the lore. Because who's better than Doom? Magneto?
Hey, let me tell you. Oh, I see. More and more we talk, and more questions become coming to me. But to that point, better than Magneto? No, probably not. I think Doom will solo. If you're talking about 1v1, Doom will probably solo Magneto.
But what's Doom's armor made out of?
I know it's mask.
It better not be something that
vibranium.
that Magneto can control. That would be interesting if they make it in the MCU that Magneto can't control adamantium or vibranium. Maybe I don't know. Adamantium, yes, because he could rip it from Wolverine's claw. He could remember in Fatal Attractions.
I'm sorry, vibranium is not.
So maybe if he can't control vibranium, that gives Cap a 1-up. Whether it's Sam Alexander or whoever with the shield.
Well, you know what? That's weird because Black Panther's suit is. I'm just gonna say it's not metal.
It's threaded.
It absorbs.
Nah,
energy.
but I'm pretty sure it's threaded. It's like threaded vibranium. If I think back to the first
vibranium.
Yeah, like the threads are made of vibranium. But it also does have that absorption power too. But I think Shuri added that to the suit. Okay. I don't think that was in the original suit.
Because obviously my man's arm vibrated is metal all day. And then some other man the shield.
They gotta make it where he can't control that in the MCU for that to matter.
So I talk about Omega level mutants. Now my definition of Omega level mutants are ones that can destroy a planet or subsidize a planet.
Okay.
So I think of Storm.
Yeah, Storm is the one that comes to mind right away for me.
Iceman.
Iceman too, but I think Iceman was recently. When I say recently, it might even be within like the last 10 or 15 years. Where he's become an Omega level mutant, but I guess almost for the same reasons as Storm, right? Being able to control the weather, being able to freeze their surroundings.
Storm will flood this whole thing out.
Iceman now can make big Voltron kaiju type of robots. You know what I'm saying? Like that can move on their own and everything.
So why is it then that somebody like Magneto, this big bad guy, he is. I don't think unless you give me something that says he's Omega level, he can only control metal. I know the Earth is damn near
right.
The infrastructure.
He can control iron, right? So he can mess with the core or whatever. I don't know.
So why is this man? I know it's plot armor at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But that's a bad man.
Yeah.
For only being able to control one thing.
Yeah, but I mean that one thing. There's so many aspects with.
Yeah,
when
he
it comes
pulled,
to that.
he's got a lot of iron in your blood.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking about.
Drop
that, and then the way he could, with Wolverine is not even a threat to him. He just.
Yeah, I don't. People say, "Oh, your favorite character is Wolverine." Magneto kills him every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I get it.
There's basically no defense for Wolverine against Magneto.
No,
you got to run up on him.
Yeah.
Is Professor X an Omega level mutant? I forget canonically in the comics if he is or not, but I think Phoenix is, right? I mean Jean Grey.
Well, the Phoenix is an entity.
Right.
So,
she controls the Phoenix or vice versa.
What I will say is Professor X has the he can pretty much drop everybody on the planet.
Yeah.
You can't destroy the
with
planet.
Cerebro, I guess.
Yeah, so he can make everybody just drop, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So he can definitely inhabit the Earth, I would say.
I guess to be an Omega level mutant, you almost have to be able to be like an elemental.
Pretty much, yeah.
But what about someone like Legion or like even like Quentin Quire, who can like psychologically mess you up?
Yeah, so that, I mean, it ain't the Earth at that point. Still.
Yeah.
So, but I only say that because I just thought it was really interesting that like somebody like Iceman was he had a nice role in the trilogy, but I'm curious to see where X-Men comes, what they're gonna do next with X-Men.
Yeah.
And,
well, I mean, bro, Fantastic Four and X-Men is kind of like the MCU's last shot.
That's their really only
If they
shot.
mess that up, what else do we got? If they do it right, man, you have solo movies that can come
Nobody
out of
wants
that.
to see Avengers again. We're kind of like past it. I'm pretty much good on it. I'm good.
I'll tell you what, I'll tell you what I think they're going to do. I think, I mentioned this before. I think they're going to go Ultimate Universe, introduce Miles, introduce the Ultimates, which is going to be a version of the Avengers fan casted. I think you're going to see Tom Cruise as Iron Man. You're going to see whoever else as Thor, whoever was up for the role who didn't get it besides, Chris Hemsworth. And things of that nature. And I think we're going to see that lead and build up into Secret Wars, where we're going to get Miles into the Marvel 616 or the MCU, and you're going to have the Ultimates get incursioned out. But if they continue with Avengers, they're going to do some kind of new Avengers with newer characters, but I don't think that the audience wants that.
Do you like Brie Larson?
Do I like Brie Larson? I'm not
because in that one storyline, Civil War, right? Yeah, Civil War in the comic book storyline.
Okay, yeah.
She like leads one group, and I don't know who leads the other group. But if there's talks of like getting her out just because fans aren't really
right. So are you asking if I like Brie Larson or do I like Carol Danvers?
Well, I think everybody likes. Why would you not like Carol Danvers?
The comic book character?
Yeah.
I mean,
think she's dope.
I'm a little bit indifferent to her. I mean,
Really?
It's not a character I grew up with, so I don't really have a nostalgia feeling to it. Brie Larson, I liked her in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, so I don't think she's a bad actress, but I don't think she killed it as Captain Marvel. I think she was very bland and stale. And I guess that's because her power set puts her on that level where she's just very... I don't think she added to the MCU.
I think she did, though.
In what movie?
In Endgame.
In Endgame? But that could have been anybody that came through and just flew through. It could have been Nova. It could have been Thor.
Yeah, but that's not what we had, though. But we had Captain Marvel, which made the most sense because she is a Infinity Stone, basically. A walking Infinity Stone.
Yeah, which is not from the comics.
She absorbed it in the comics.
Hell no. Well, maybe she did later on. In the comics, Carol Danvers got the powers from Captain Marvel.
Yes, I'm sorry. You're absolutely correct. Yes.
So, I mean, and then she became Miss Marvel, and then she later became Captain Marvel.
But she absorbed it from... She didn't pass it on her, didn't she?
How'd she get it from Captain Marvel? I don't remember, to be honest.
I thought she absorbed it from her or some.
I don't know. To me, it just it's not a character I grew up with. It's not one that I was excited to see on screen.
Because she was just in the Marvels movies. Like, is this the last time we see her then?
Oh, yeah. I mean, probably. I mean, it sounds like wild. Even Brie Larson kind of said, I mean, do the fans want me back as Captain Marvel? I
didn't mind her. I thought
I'll tell you what I don't want to see is this Young Avengers they're building from the shows to become a movie. You know, you haven't watched the shows, but in every show they've kind of had a new character from the Young Avengers that it would have been maybe cool to see that as a Young Avengers show, but I don't want to see that as a movie. I don't think that's going to perform well.
And that's why, you know, when I saw that our movies cringe now or something like that, I'm like,
what do you think about that?
They're there. I think that's where we're at right now. I think there's, like I said, we only have Deadpool 3 coming out this year, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
We're kind of stale right now. And
well, we were supposed to lead up to Avengers Kang Dynasty, which may or may not happen. Right now, it's being called Avengers 5. But I don't know that I've said this before. I don't think the Kang storyline was a solid foundation because they were willing to scrap it at the drop of a dime and change it up to something else. I think Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars would be a great movie adaptation. Did you read that? Mm-hmm. So that one has a lot of potential. Now, what movies are we going to get to lead up to that? Think about what we had leading up to Infinity War, Gathering the Stones, the coming of Thanos, him being teased in Avengers. And see, you didn't see Guardians of the Galaxy 1? That's when we first saw Thanos, besides that post-credit scene in Avengers.
Oh, wow.
So
yeah, I didn't know he... Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, he was in it. And he had dialogue and everything. It was dope, man.
Wow.
He said, your politics bore me.
This is the first time I ever heard of this.
Yeah, man. That's where he first showed up. Josh Brolin's first role as Thanos was in Guardians.
Love Josh Brolin.
Bro, homework for you. You need to go watch Guardians of the Galaxy.
I got a real thick plate. But I got to give you your flowers real quick, man. Because I know you're not going to do it because you're a humbling guy.
I try to be.
But you know, I spoke on Once Upon a Time that before you, Cartel from Hell was really the only thing that, before I clicked on you, and you spoke on him like this is the godfather of the statue world because he didn't do Omnibus.
Right.
And
but he did later on, though.
Oh, yeah.
But not that he would review them, but I got him into them.
Oh, okay.
And he would collect them and stuff.
Man. See how that worked.
So, all right, go ahead. I want to speak on that when you're done.
And so I'd click on Cartel from Hell stuff. And if anybody's ever, he's not on YouTube no more. But
his videos are still up.
You know, I'm going to look it up.
They are. They're still there.
I'm going to find it. And it's like he's in a giant spacecraft just surrounded by Omnibus. And it's the coolest thing, man. It really is.
So you know what that section was? So first of all, I'm a huge fan of Cartel from Hell. He's the statue reviewer that when I found his videos, I was like, yo, I can do this. He's a cool cat. Mm-hmm. He's smooth with it. He wasn't nerdy or awkward. He was still is cool dude. That room was an ensuite on his master bedroom.
Really?
That he wrapped it with IKEA shelving.
Wow.
But I was always like, yo, what the hell room is that?
Yeah. Because it looks really, like I said, it looks like a spaceship to me.
Yeah, because
like
he had
in the cockpit or something.
So he had the black shelves. Yeah. I went white.
Yeah, yeah.
And I always felt like the black shelves kind of engulfed the pieces and that white would let them stand out. Mm-hmm. But I was always jealous of the collectors that had the black shelving because I always wanted that look. But I wanted to be different, and I kind of did feel like it would show the statues in a better light.
Oh, they definitely do.
But, yeah, he had the LEDs with the color.
Yeah.
He had a ton of pieces, and he was like how I was when everybody first started collecting, except for you. But usually people who get into statues go crazy and start buying up everything. And he was kind of like that. I remember watching his videos, and he had a million things on pre-order, and he had all this shit coming in. And then that's how I was. And then for years, I was like that too, man. Just always pre-orders, all this shit coming in. And to the point where I would just be selling things just to make space for new things.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to Cartel from Hell. Mike, still a huge fan. So when he got into Omnis and he wasn't doing the channel anymore, he ended up getting married, having a kid, living life. But I would be like, yo, I review Omnis on my channel. How dope would that be if there was Cartel from Hell doing an Omnibus review on my channel? But he was like, damn, I would love to, but I just don't have the retention like that. Like me, I would always be the first to admit, like I have terrible readers' retention. Mm-hmm. The only thing that helps doing that is reading more and talking about it.
Facts.
So when I'm doing the video, I find myself, I would have thought I forgot these things, but as I'm talking about it, it all starts coming back to you.
Yeah.
But when you read an omnibus, 30-something issues, it's kind of hard to remember every little thing that occurred. Especially, I don't know if you have this problem, but I have a problem with reading and watching TV where my mind starts thinking about something totally different.
Yeah.
Like I'll be reading a comic book and I start thinking about, oh shit, I got to do this video later.
Go back and reread.
Yeah, I got to go back and reread a page or something, you know?
Happens to me all the time.
Yeah. Let me know in the comments below, does that happen to you guys? What is your cure for that? How do you zone out to just read or just watch something without? It's not even looking at my phone. My brain will literally be in another area, like and thinking about a completely different thing. Let us know how you combat that, man.
Yeah. So you've done a lot for the comic book culture. I personally I put a lot of my friends who are into the comic game onto your stuff.
Yeah, I
so
appreciate
they watch your stuff almost routinely.
Damn.
But like a lot of stuff I would never have gotten into or probably even watched if I did not stumble upon your channel. So just know like you influencing, even if it's just to watch an episode or watch a movie or to even think about getting your own statue, like you've influenced somebody in some type of way. I mean, you got 150,000 subscribers. They're not following you for nothing. You did something that made them that they want to keep tapping in, obviously. So I encourage you to keep doing it because, like we popped it off. Like this is nothing that I will probably ever see again. Just facts.
No, I appreciate it, man.
This is outstanding.
Damn. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Keep
thank
it
you
going.
Thank you for coming here. I know you've been watching it since before this space.
Yeah.
In the old house with IKEA shelving.
Yeah, but you got to come from somewhere. And I remember when you first got down here, the floor wasn't like this, the walls weren't like this, so you see it all come to fruition. Incredible, man.
I appreciate it. All right, man. So I think we talked about it a lot.
Yeah, although I feel like all we did was piggyback off of the last one, but it's cool because, like I said, what y'all were saying is like I want to talk about that stuff. I've been wanting to talk about all the popular things going on in the comic book world right now, or things that are not so popular right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, it was a great convo, man. I mean, everything from the movie stuff to the collectibles, the omnibus, the statues. I definitely again want to thank you for making the trek out here.
Yeah.
First time meeting you in person.
Yeah.
You interacted with somebody for years.
Yeah.
And then you finally meet him. But when it was funny, we were hanging out. I was like, it doesn't even feel like, it's not like you're hanging out with a stranger.
Yeah.
I feel like I know you for years, but it's the first time I met you in person. But thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed the podcast. Leave a comment below. Whatever, man. Interact with something that we said. And catch you guys next time. Stay minty fresh. Peace.